Hello, today is Tuesday, and it's July 30th, and we've already lost half a recording today. So it's a little bit rough.
Somebody left a dead battery in the camera and took the plug-in battery with him on his bullshit trip. So we lost half the news. Now we're doing it again. So if we seem a little less than enthusiastic about it, that's why.
Which if we're less than enthusiastic than normal, I feel like that's especially bad because we're kind of like monotone anyway.
We've already talked about the French wine.
We have.
We've already had this discussion, but let's do it again. Let's talk about Donald Trump and the wine without an H.
Trump says U.S. could tax French wine in retaliation for digital tax. And
A wine-pocalypse.
A wine-pocalypse for mostly probably French, like people, or not French people, but rich people here in the U.S. who actually drink French wine.
This story points out the U.S. is the #1 consumer in terms of export of French wine.
Maybe it's because I'm uncultured, but I don't think I've ever had a French wine.
I don't think I have either. No. Is Boone's Farm French?
Well, clearly. It's pronounced Bonnet. Bonnet's Farm.
So, yeah, this is about the digital tax. And Trump says, hey, man, hey, monsieur, that digital tax ain't just about the big tech companies. You're messing with the US of A. And when you mess with the US of A, you mess with the bull, you get the horns. And the horns are shaped like tariffs on your wine.
It's the most non-aggressive bullhorn I've ever seen.
That would hurt them. But he also said they could think about other things. And I imagine the reason he says, like, maybe it won't be wine. Maybe it would be something else. I think the reason he said that is because he doesn't know what else France exports.
I kind of got that vibe. It's like, but surely if you really wanted to hit them hard, you'd do cheese, right?
You think I imagine.
I think I've had French cheese.
Isn't there French cheese that incorporates wine?
Oh, I'm sure.
Do you double
There's like
down?
every kind of weird cheese imaginable.
Does that cost double?
Probably. Well,
tariffs?
When I'm into the cheese counter.
Will you, now that you're like a married woman, will you approach the cheese counter with more confidence and like just show your ring?
No. I will, if they try to talk to me and I'm not expecting a reply, still flee.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. And your marriage doesn't fix all ills. That's a personal problem.
I think a lot of people believe that it does. The other tariff, we all know that Trump is tariff crazy.
Yeah.
He loves them. It's his favorite thing in the world to do is to apply tariffs. Well, it's probably not true, but probably like it's in the top 10, I would say.
Yeah.
And the Chinese tariffs are the big ones. And some people, Apple in particular, they have this attitude that, the laws, those don't really apply to us. We're Apple. But Mr. Trump says, I don't think so, bro.
Trump says Apple will not be given tariff waivers or relief for Mac Pro parts made in China. I don't know. It's not the worst thing in the world to me. Like, there's far worse things that Trump has done. This is
what if you have to buy a replacement Apple Pencil and it costs 20% more?
Listen, that's just the price. That's the price, man.
Let's rehash, Krista, as we have already said, which parts are made in China.
Circuit board, I remember. The stainless steel enclosure.
The cheese grater itself.
The cheese grater, which I found the cheese grater to be strange because I feel like that would be probably fairly cheap to make in America, but I guess you have to pay people a living wage here. So
the metal cost in China is rock bottom.
That's true.
They got all those refineries and stuff and smelters. That makes a lot of sense. Mice, trackpads, and the power supply. So God knows how much it's going to add to the cost of a Mac Pro.
A $50,000 Mac Pro.
If you have to add a power supply made in the U.S. The other thing that Trump was doing while he was defending the big tech companies from the French aggression was also going after the big tech companies himself.
DOJ announces broad antitrust review of big tech, pushing down shares of Alphabet, Facebook, and Amazon.
It's antitrust. It's anti-competitive behavior. And I don't know that they can prove that they aren't doing some of those things.
They probably can't.
Yeah, there's the Amazon, third-party seller marketplace, pushing out the people who are, their own suppliers. Facebook, I mean, it's pretty obvious. Facebook
No.
is pure evil. And then Alphabet with the whole ad stuff. We've seen some fishy behavior. So, the problem is I don't think that anything great's going to come of it. I think they're going to fine them, small fines, which will benefit no one except the government.
I was going to say, the government will love that.
To make more government, to make more fines, which again will benefit no one. And nothing will change. But that's just my prediction. We'll have to see.
It's a hot take, spicy take.
And in one situation, they doubled down and they gave some more comments about one company in particular. I wonder why they would target this one.
Amazon destroyed the retail industry across the U.S., says Treasury Secretary Mnuchin. I mispronounce it every time I try to say it. I mispronounced it 3 different ways when we did this before.
So yeah, the White House hates Jeff Bezos and Amazon and the Washington Post. They've never made a secret about it, and they are saying the obvious.
Yeah, I feel like this isn't really. I mean, it's not controversial. I mean, it sucks that they're going after him, but like, they're not wrong.
We had a much better discussion about this the first time around when we talked about Walmart was probably actually.
Walmart was the real foot on the neck of local businesses, at least in Eastern Kentucky.
It was kind of Walmart destroyed the retail industry, and then Amazon is in the process of destroying Walmart.
Yes.
So, maybe somebody bigger will come along. Who knows? I mean, the speed at which Amazon launched to number 1.
I feel like it was overnight.
But they're not even number 1. They're a shockingly small percentage of U.S. retail.
My family doesn't order stuff online a whole lot.
Well,
they're starting to.
I've already forgotten, but you said you ordered something.
Oh, I did. I ordered stuff for my pantry. We're organizing our pantry. That's like
pantry
a big wedding
organization
thing that we're doing.
You're already wrecking the home that you were about to take over.
Listen, we're making it better. We're working together. We decided together what we were going to get.
Uh-huh.
We did, yeah. Like, we went through on Amazon and looked at everything.
Who clicked order?
I did.
Oh. Not your account.
No, it wasn't. He has Prime. I should have used his account, but...
You didn't order Prime?
No. We don't need it right away. It doesn't need to be here in like one day. It's going to be here Wednesday.
I don't know about you. Well...
I don't need it that fast.
And a final story from the White House. Once again, an odd... They giveth and they taketh away, Krista. And this one's an odd giveth because I'm not sure why they would defend this behavior.
White House. Google's work in China is not a security risk. I kind of think it is, though, at least based on the Dragonfly stuff, which they have canceled, quote unquote, again.
Well, it may not be a security risk for Americans.
Yeah, maybe that's why they don't care. They're like, oh, whatever.
In some situations, you might even think that America could have access to Chinese data, similar to how China has access to American data when we use Huawei, right?
Right.
So it could be good for us from a spying perspective.
Maybe that's why they're like, all right, we'll deal with this.
But in terms of like PR and human rights and that kind of thing, definitely an issue.
I'm not sure if the Trump White House really cares about that.
That's true. And just miraculously, this is a huge coincidence. On this same day that the accusation was made by Mr. Thiel, that's when Google announced the Dragonfly would be terminated permanently.
Permanently, quote.
Right.
Totally not going to redo it again.
Permanently in Chinese time.
Yeah.
Chinese government time. We all know that encryption backdoors, an encryption standard with a backdoor is basically, it's like a human-sized doggy door on your front door. Like that's basically what that is.
So totally secure.
It renders it pretty much obsolete.
Only your dog comes in.
Right.
A human-sized doggy door, only your dog comes in.
Humans could presumably come in, but it's not for humans except for cops.
So, yeah, that'll never.
Right.
It's a cop door.
And that was explained to us by the highest echelons of power.
U.S. Attorney General William Barr says Americans should accept security risks of encryption backdoors. I don't think I will, though. I don't think I'll accept it.
Now, this is a little bit of a new narrative because the FBI people were like, no, just because the technology doesn't exist doesn't mean we can't come up with it. Just come up with a way for only us to get in. It's super simple. Why don't you,
Easy.
You stupid nerds, need to quit complaining and just get on this. We know you can
just
do
throwing
it.
a football around the office. Like,
So Barr is taking a slightly different tack. He is saying, yeah, it's a security risk. Okay, what about it? We need it because maybe you'll lose your data. But what does your data matter, Krista?
yeah, obviously it doesn't.
You don't even have Amazon Prime.
That's what they tell me.
Yeah. So you getting hacked is a small price to pay. A tiny, it's a speck of sand on the moon that is national security.
Yeah, still, it's that argument's still not swaying me.
Well,
They need to work harder.
you know what the great thing about it is from their perspective? Your opinion doesn't
Matter, yeah.
So when it comes to this cybersecurity that they need to go through our data to achieve, and also to combat China and all these other countries that are hacking us, North Korea, these crazy North Korean, Iranian hackers, we need a new system, and we'll get it.
NSA forms Cybersecurity Directorate under more assertive U.S. effort. I'm reading the sub-headline underneath it. I was debating whether I needed to read it, and then Ryan flipped the camera back, and you saw me squinting trying to read it.
Because you have poor eyesight.
I do have poor eyesight. I got contacts this week, and it's amazing.
And
I had to wear glasses all week, and it was
But
miserable.
the contacts clearly are the wrong prescription.
No, they're right. I actually get my eyes checked every year. It's like 3 feet away. And it's in light gray text. Of course I can't read that from here.
So here's the thing. If you read this story, and this is a paywall Wall Street Journal. I read it on like CNN.com or something. Just Google the headline. Google News, the headline. But what this boils down to is they're kind of merging some pieces of the NSA together. And I took this, it's kind of like the Department of Defense, right? Because the Department of Department of Defense, do you know what we used to call it?
No.
The War Department.
Oh, but that sounds scary.
Exactly. So
The PR there is just...
the Cybersecurity Directorate sounds to me more like the Cyber Warfare Directorate because it's going to be focused on retaliation.
It's straight on the offensive, not the defensive.
It sounds a lot like that. I mean, we might get attacked first, but it's not about stopping those attacks. It's about counterattacking.
Making them regret ever trying to attack.
The best defense is a good offense.
Right.
That old chestnut. So we are getting a dedicated agency to waging cyber warfare. I guess we need it. I don't know. I question the government's efficacy when it comes to cyber anything.
That was the first word that came to my mind too, was efficacy.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know. This, it's rare that we get some good news in the tech news. Really rare.
Especially in the government section.
But when, again, I said this last week or the week before when the FCC did this, when there's a slam dunk, they really slam it home. Like they tear down the backboard when there's a slam dunk because
Yeeted across the
why
court.
not? And because this is such a slam dunk, even after the FCC has taken their dunk and did their victory lap, now the lawmakers are doing a different plan.
A bipartisan bill that could end our robocall hell just passed the House, 429-3.
What about those three
I
people?
was gonna say, we need to know who those people are.
It's mentioned in the article.
So who enjoys a robocall?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe they're just super lonely. So what this does, the difference here, is this requires a definite opt-in. You have to give permission, and it can't be one of those hidden away in the terms of service. You click OK to agree to 5 million pages of text. No, you have to explicitly say yes. You can robot call me, and if you don't, then you could be fined. And now this was just the House. This still has to go through the Senate. Although, like you say, like those three people, you're really going to get called out.
Yeah.
If you're a senator who votes against
I'm already
this.
seeing the slow motion black and white ads during election season where it's
oh yeah,
so and so voted for robocalls. We can't
So-
trust them with the future.
This also makes some rules about the telecom companies and how they have to deal with all this. But it sounds pretty good overall, I think. I mean, it's really hard to not get behind an end to the robocalls.
Oh, yeah, who enjoys those? I get them on my work phone. I don't get them on my cell phone very often, but my work phone, it's just constantly. And I have to pick it up because I'm like, what if that's a client?
A guy called me the other day. And he was like, "No, I'm returning your call," and I had to explain it to him, and his mind was just blown.
It was nice of you to explain it because usually it's just like, whatever, dude.
I mean, we're both victims there, so
Yeah.
I got no, enmity toward him. He's just a poor rube who doesn't know how the world works. Facial recognition. Krista, will there be any facial recognition at the wedding?
No.
You guarantee that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
So you can come and be all right.
That's good. And because people don't like facial recognition, I don't know if you've noticed.
Yeah. Probably for
And
good reason.
They dislike it so much that city after city is banning it. We had San Francisco, and then was it Philadelphia?
There was some place out in Maine, like it was a smaller town that banned it.
Oakland. Oh yeah, the New England one is the one I was thinking of, and then
Yeah.
Oakland most recently. But this one is a ban on a federal level.
Facial recognition may be banned from public housing thanks to a proposed law.
This is anybody who gets HUD money.
Yes.
What's HUD stand for?
I don't remember, but I know it's like,
Housing and Urban Development.
how's that? I was thinking Section 8, but Section 8 housing.
They're related.
HUD.
They're related, right?
Yeah, they are.
Anyway, if you take any money from them, so this is like your housing projects.
Yeah.
I think projects.
Section 8, yeah.
Projects is now such a vilified word that they probably don't use that anymore.
Well, I had a cousin who lived that life for a little while, and I think they called it Section 8 housing.
Which also doesn't sound good.
It doesn't know. Well, I guess it kind of connotates like the government helps pay for the rent there, but
Which is exactly what it
yeah.
is. But they also build, that's not just collective housing, they also build actual homes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And they let you get like the easy mortgages and stuff,
Hers was like an apartment complex, so.
Right. Any of that cannot use facial recognition. Now you might be thinking, well, why would they use facial recognition? Well, a lot of landlords wanted to switch away from keys and key fobs and make it pure like Apple Face ID to get
into your
in
apartment,
to your
yeah.
home, which keeps people out that aren't on the lease and also lets them track your comings and goings. So that's probably good.
Yeah.
I don't know though. I mean, it's I question some of those housing choices. Some people definitely get into those places that shouldn't be into those places.
Yeah, who can afford better.
You've probably seen the big story this week. You can get your $125. Krista, what would you do with pennies from heaven, $125? You've paid your student debt.
I have.
You can just go crazy with it. What are you going to do with it?
I'd probably put it toward our bar tab at our wedding.
Oh,
That's like, well, I have to pay my venue, and then the bar tab are like the last two probably big expenses.
that is super boring.
You're welcome.
But the news is still, well, I don't know if this is good news or not.
Equifax to pay at least $575 million as part of FTC settlement. They may pay up to $700 million over a 2017 data breach. That's like literally pennies from heaven for them, right? Like they don't really care about that.
This is a pretty light sentence, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, considering that Facebook just paid $5 billion for a similar type of deal. Now, this is broken up. Some of it is a fine that goes to the government. $300 million is for the affected consumers, but if they use up all $300 million of that, then it goes up another $125 million. $175 million to the 48 states, and $100 million civil penalties, which again will go to the government. Indiana and Massachusetts did not sign on to this deal.
Ooh.
Which means those people might still be suing them. So, yeah, you can go on. There's all sorts of links where you can go on, and it'll tell you how to figure out if you were affected. If you can prove, like if you got your identity stolen and you had to spend a bunch of time dealing with that, if you can prove that you spent hours dealing with that, Equifax has to pay you per hour.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you had to do that,
might be worth it. Yeah.
you would definitely look into it. And supposedly you get $125 a person, although I've seen some stories denying that. I think you do have to prove some things. But you know what? If you got time on your hands, I'd look into it. Why not?
If you're just at home all day reading for tendies and you're like, you know what? I want to buy my own tendies.
Do you think those people even had credit?
Probably
scores?
not.
Tulsi Gabbard, Krista.
I didn't know who this was.
Yes, I was just going to point out you don't know anything about Tulsi Gabbard.
I never heard that name before.
You are not an informed voter.
I'm not.
Well, Tulsi Gabbard has a little bit of a problem with Google.
Looks like your ad blocker's on.
You can read the very top of the...
Tulsi Gabbard sues Google, claims election interference over...
Right.
Scroll down.
Right.
Scroll down.
Yeah, it's right here.
It's not.
Right there. Top of the...
Over violations of free speech. It's a totally different headline.
She says questioningly. Yes. So, Tulsi Gabbard was kind of a star at the first presidential Democratic debate, that is. Because she's a Democrat, of course, a filthy leftist, but she has some very pragmatic ideas about certain things. She was a 4 tour of duty veteran.
Wow.
So she's very anti-war. And anti-war is a real easy ticket to be on.
Yeah.
You know, like Obama and Trump both campaigned on. That didn't work out, did it? She's also budget type stuff. She's very pragmatic from what I know.
Not tear down every building in the U.S.
I mean,
pragmatic.
I don't know a lot about her, but she seems like one of the more sane Democratic presidential choices. So, huge Google results after that. Because like you, no one knew who she was.
Yeah.
No one ever heard of her. So everybody was Googling, who is this Tulsi Gabbard? Let's find out more about her. Well, Google... They got all those search results and they said to themselves, is this the Russians? Shut it down.
Shut it down.
So Tulsi Gabbard's campaign ad on Google Ads was suspended during the heaviest traffic of her lifetime.
And she's not happy about that.
Ouch.
Understandably so.
In fact, she says that it's hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of damages were done. I don't remember exactly how many because...
I like that you were frantically scrolling like it was going to go away.
Yeah, it looks like our ad blocker is on. But she is suing them, and she expects to get some payment. Because she did pay for those ads. And during the time when she needed them most, they were not there.
I would think that, I told her, I was like, I would think, it sucks because she did pay for the ad, but, I would think if the person was even a little bit smart, they would still find her campaign website. And then he was like, you're talking about voters, they're probably not going to find it.
So here's a great thing about this. Google may have fixed this, but when I first heard about Tulsi Gabbard and some of this stuff, I actually Googled her. So I wasn't one of these people. I didn't watch the debate. I was later, but I did Google her. And, the autocompletes. Yeah. One of them was Tulsi Gabbard bikini pics. Oh. Because she's from Hawaii and she's like a surfer, I guess.
Oh, so she's, yeah.
So there's a lot of those. And she's not bad looking for a presidential candidate. I clicked it.
Almost none are bad looking anymore.
Oh, there's plenty.
Yeah, but I remember taking a history class and we talked about how the invent of television really changed it because now almost all of our president they end up being more attractive
than typical.
Well, that
was the chick from Alaska. What was her name?
I can see her poofy hair.
Everybody knows who we're talking about. But, yeah, that was the...
Palin.
Yeah, Palin. That was the big thing there. Apparently a lot of older Republican men would vote Palin just because she was pretty.
I don't know.
And she was like
and it's the other way, too.
They considered her like that conservative ideal woman,
Strange. It's sad that it auto-completed bikini pics. That's weird.
It's the world we live in.
Yeah.
Well, not only did it do that, but it's like, well, Google, you did know what would make me click.
Do you remember when Obama had a shirtless pic?
Oh, yeah.
And everyone freaked out?
And, but it was with...
He was on family vacation, same as
But a lot of the family was white. And people freaked out about that, too.
Yeah, he's mixed.
Yeah.
Remember, they're still people.
Do you remember that time when they got caught selling, I believe it was AT&T, was selling the location data to bounty hunters.
No.
You can't say that, Krista.
Yes.
It's been a staple of the Level 1
Yes,
news.
absolutely. I do remember.
Well,
Definitely not lost in flowers and wedding planning ideas.
based on that, New York City has made a severe decision.
New York City to consider banning sale of cell phone location data. Thanks for reading the Times. Create your free account or log in to get 10 articles a month. Continue.
So, this is cell phone companies. So, if you have an app or your phone just hitting mobile towers, they will not be able to sell that data without explicit permission.
Explicit.
Explicit.
That's probably good. Whether it will actually happen.
Yeah, it's probably good. I wonder, though, how, because this makes them a lot of money. So what sort of deceptive trickery will they enter into to try to get that permission?
The worst dark patterns. Like that form we did a story on. The worst form ever.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be like that.
We didn't do a story about it. Did you see the Windows 10? You know how you can do a local account or you can sign up for a Microsoft account?
Yeah.
They temporarily pushed one of the updates. Like, not only could you not find the local account, but you literally had to unplug all your internet and pretend that the computer couldn't connect for 30 minutes in order to even see the option to get a local account.
Wow.
Yeah. So I expect something like that from your phone company. Ransomware. We talk a lot about ransomware, and ransomware is just getting worse.
It's been real bad for like local state governments lately.
Because it shows you what kind of person works at local government, right? Because these are almost always phishing attacks. Almost always. Which means somebody clicked. They clicked something they shouldn't have. Even after news story after news story.
And probably briefings by their IT guy.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah. Well, it hasn't stopped, and this week's big loser is North Louisiana.
Louisiana governor declares state of emergency after local ransomware outbreak. 3 school districts have been hit by ransomware in North Louisiana this week.
I like how they refer to it as an outbreak.
Like,
It's a spreading disease.
It's like herpes.
So, yeah, state of emergency because these school systems are done.
Well, there was one that had a backup.
I think
right?
one had a backup. Yeah, they
that
said,
IT guy, A+.
And the other thing is, like, in the face of, okay, we recognize that our employees are morons, and they're going to click this stuff. Maybe, because they mentioned here, oh, no, it was Florida. So Florida had the same exact situation, and one town paid $600,000, one paid $500,000, and one had a backup. So you would think that every municipal IT organization in the world would be like, hey,
We should have a backup.
why don't we build a $200,000 backup system? Because that'll be cheaper than either of those other options, and we can make a really good one. No, that's not what they do.
No. Because what if it won't hit us? It won't be us.
Right, yeah.
It's totally not us this time.
Yeah, we had a client that got ransomware, and
Oh, I remember that.
it was a click. And they were like, oh my God, what's happening? What have you done? And then we was like, this email that you clicked? And they're like, oh. Can you fix this?
And they were suddenly real sweet. I had to go to the courthouse last week to get our marriage license. I don't know who does the IT over there, but they have some really nice cable management because I could see it poking out of the ceiling. But it was all color-coded and like zip-tied together and like very nice looking. I was like,
But if you can
wow.
see it poking out of the ceiling, isn't that
Well, listen.
not well managed?
Not super well managed, but I mean, it looks like someone actually took time to work on it. It's not just loose wires hanging everywhere.
Do you think when you go on your honeymoon and you're a filthy tourist,
Mm-hmm.
will you rent some scooters to scoot around on?
You know, I've been asking my fiance that, and he won't answer.
It's a surprise. She doesn't
It's a
even know where
surprise.
she's going.
I don't know where we're going.
Well, if you do have to use a scooter, beware.
Atlanta pauses scooter permits after deaths. The city has come under pressure from activists in recent days who have protested on Atlanta streets after a man riding a scooter was run over by a transit bus. Bad news all around for the city.
But what are they protesting against?
Yeah, I feel like scooters would be like, that's like a nice public service.
Although,
instead of having to catch the bus, you can take a scooter.
I guess they're kind of like bikes, and I hate bikes on the roads.
Do they have bike lanes in Atlanta?
Probably.
Through probably parts of it, yeah. I would think.
I don't like bike lanes either, though.
If bikes have to share the road, I'd rather them be in a bike lane than just riding in the middle of the street.
Yeah, but until they can go, 80 miles an hour.
Oh, you don't know that I couldn't do that.
On a bike?
Pedal a bike, yeah. I could go 80.
We should definitely make a video
I could
about
pedal
that.
it clear over the mountains.
You know what? I bet that like a 6% grade, you'd be hopping off and walking.
Oh, I
out.
would. Yeah. No. I did that even when I was a kid riding a bike. Like, I didn't go uphill.
You didn't stand up and stand up.
I would
and
try, and then
crank
I'd be like, ugh.
it?
I would just push it up.
So a lot of cities actually banned these scooters. They're kind of a nuisance. Atlanta was like, no, we're going to be a city of the future. We're going to work hand in hand with these scooter companies. And then people keep falling under those wheels.
Maybe a bike program would be better. We have a bike program in our town.
I don't know. I mean,
I haven't seen any of those for a while. Do you think they ended that?
I don't think many of those make money. Oh, but it's also summertime.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Once it's fall again, we'll probably see them again.
So yeah, watch out for scooters. Be a real shame if you damaged your car on one.
Also, the human life that was lost.
But it's a scooter rider. Krista and I discussed Boris Johnson's hair.
We did at length.
It is
before in the lost recording.
It is really bad.
It is pretty bad. But you wanted to talk about Trump's hair in comparison.
Also bad. That's what I'm saying. Like,
but you were like, he slicked it back and it looked
there was one time he slicked it back, and I thought, well, that's a lot better. It just makes him look more bald. Now I'm in a glass house here because I don't have any hair, but I'm also I'm just like trying to decide when's the cutoff that I just have to go ahead and just shave all mine off. I feel like
yours looks terrible.
I feel like I'm digging down into it. But see, it looks worse on camera because where it's thin, the light just disappears.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Camera's not friendly to anybody, though. You'll learn that if you're ever on camera.
Well, I think that's not true for people in Hollywood. People in Hollywood are all tiny and have giant heads because that photographs well.
I watched some makeup tutorials on Vogue last night. They have a YouTube channel, which I got sucked into the other night. And it made me feel a little bit better because a lot of those supermodels and stuff, they're still gorgeous, but they actually have skin blemishes and stuff too. They look like normal human beings. They just wear so many products you can't tell. Yeah,
it's interesting to see the no makeup pictures.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh, you look like a human.
But then some of them still look really good.
Well, they still, feature wise, they still look great. But it's nice to see someone with actual skin texture. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, but we've entered into that world where, perception is reality. Because I think there are a lot of people who don't understand that concept at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, Boris Johnson.
People have pores.
Boris Johnson looks kind of dumb and weird. And I've heard it said, actually it might have been this article, where it's his whole political career has been look like an idiot, but behind the scenes just be a merciless political climber.
Wasn't that Bush the second?
Do you think he wasn't an idiot?
I sometimes suspect he wasn't as stupid as he made himself appear.
That's a hell of an acting job. If that's the case. But anyway, Boris Johnson gets the same rap. And TechCrunch just spent most of the article bashing him. But there was a speck of good news if you are a fan of technology.
Freshly elected as UK's next PM, Boris Johnson pledges full fibre broadband bonanza. I don't see the word bonanza enough in headlines.
Do you know what bonanza really means?
It's an old Western series from the 70s.
It's a mine that's hit.
Oh.
A lot of gold, for example.
Oh, that's cool.
A bonanza, yeah.
That makes sense for a Western.
Yeah. So, Boris Johnson has promised 96% of the country will have fiber to the pole by 20-something, and then the 99% by the end of his term.
I feel like it's surprising to me a little bit that the UK doesn't already have something like this, because it's a small landmass. I know there's rural areas there, but I don't know a lot about their geography.
I don't think it's just the island.
Well, it's still, even if you combine a lot of their little territories and stuff, it's not.
It's insignificant.
Yeah, it's a small area
of land and people. just really a useless appendage onto Europe. But I'm happy for them that they're banning fiber.
Because it's never going to happen here.
Yeah, we're never going to get it. Well, not in our lifetimes. Your grandchildren, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. So, congratulations on your fiber. And
we're jealous.
Yeah.
If it actually happens.
But, you know.
It's a big if.
The freedoms make up for it.
Yeehaw.
Yeah.
Firecracker sounds.
The guns.
Gunshot sounds.
France. France is known for their military might.
It's funny because they kind of actually are, but the meme is that they're really crappy.
They're not?
Not now, but like back in the day, they had a pretty good military.
Oh, well, they had that revolution.
Yeah, that kind of changed things. People lost their heads. It was a bad time.
But France has said, you know what, we're behind the times, and it's time for us to get on the cutting edge of military power.
France is making space-based anti-satellite laser weapons. The orbital weapons will blind satellites Paris believes are a threat to its own fleet. And there's a picture of the guy there. Francois. I don't know if that's actually his name.
Desmarais?
Desmarais. It's a little country.
So, there you go. There's a picture of a satellite. I don't know if that's necessarily one of the attack satellites, but the idea here is actually France had a little bit of a scare where a Russian satellite was creeping up on one of theirs.
Oh.
And they were like, WTF, bro? Why is the satellite over here? And Russia was like, oh.
He just wandered over there himself.
So France was thinking that the Russian satellite was probably trying to intercept their data and do something with it. So their idea here is that they will have satellites that are laser powered so they can just blast that other satellite. Now, it's not the kind of laser that will destroy it.
It fires a missile.
It will merely blind it because, you know, it's optical.
Yeah.
And
then it won't be creeping
or
anymore.
radio, and then the laser is going to mess that up severely. And even cooler, they're talking about fighter satellites, orbiters, if you will, which will stay with the bigger communication satellite, and if anything gets close, the fighter will then attack.
That's cool.
That
I
is
would
cool.
I would pay money to watch that happen in real time.
It would probably be really slow and uninteresting. And
But it sounds amazing when you think about it.
the lasers themselves would not be visible to the human eye. So really, you'd just be watching like a satellite slowly turn.
And there's no sound, so it's really just like completely silent.
So yeah, you would regret paying that money.
Yeah, probably.
But hey, this definitely does it shows that we are moving toward space war. That's going to be a thing. Because you've got the ICBMs that actually go above the atmosphere, and you've got all these satellites that are up there. If you take out the GPS, you hurt the other military greatly. Communication satellites, blah, blah, blah. We are going to have war in space. Maybe not in our lifetimes, but it's going to happen.
You know, everyone made fun of Trump for the Space Force, but now it's kind of like...
Well, what about Reagan? Star Wars.
Oh.
You don't know about Star Wars?
I don't know. That was before my time.
Huawei, Krista. Let's talk about Huawei. I was surprised to find out that you can get 3G in North Korea.
I was also surprised. You know, that might be the honeymoon destination. Maybe that's where we go.
That would be a hell of a honeymoon.
It's like you can't really enjoy yourself the whole time because you're just like...
No, you literally have to have a handler. Like you
have they have
a North Korean that
follows
takes
you
you everywhere. But I bet the prices are rock bottom.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I would not go.
I'm under this impression, and perhaps I am just blinded by the modern media, you know, and they're spinning these stories about North Korea. But I thought they had a real problem with like starvation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So who's buying these 3G phones?
The elite in Pyongyang.
I guess.
It's a fun word to say.
Anyway, who built the 3G network, you ask? Who would do this? Because we're not supposed to do business with North Korea.
Huawei secretly helped build North Korea's wireless networks, leaked documents suggest.
Now, you might be thinking to yourself, listen, bro, Huawei can do what they want. They're not part of your stupid American world, you stupid Americans. But guess what? They probably used parts made in the U.S. to build that 3G network. Overwhelmingly likely that they did, because to build a whole 3G network, you almost have to, which would have been a violation of international sanctions.
Yikes.
Not good news if you're Huawei and you want to keep using Android, which we know that they really do.
Huawei's just going to go down in flames.
I don't know. We'll see. You know, they're the number 2 phone sales.
I can see that. I've heard that their the cameras on their phones are fantastic.
They have made a foldable phone.
Satisfying a need that no one in the market
Well,
asked
listen.
for.
What was it? Samsung? Samsung couldn't do it. Here's another headline that Chris is going to struggle with.
Facebook and Google could be forced to hand over details of their algorithms in a new tech regulation. It looks like you're using an ad blocker. Do it now. Get access now.
They should have a little picture of Arnold Schwarzenegger there.
Yeah.
So, yeah. In Australia, they are pushing this new law. And the wording of the law, I'd love to scroll down and tell you exactly
what it is. Yeah, but
this is where we get 10 million comments. It's like, why don't you idiots just use NoScript or uBlock or 500 other plugins I want to recommend to you? We've talked about it before. I'm not going to reiterate it.
For a long time, we didn't use an ad blocker.
I'll paraphrase it. Basically, it says that if you are going to use an algorithm that affects how people see things, like if you decide things like the Google arrangement of ads or the ranking of the page or the Facebook ad thing, it's like, why am I seeing this ad? You have to give the government access to that algorithm's code. And
Which,
as we know,
is a highly protected trade secret.
Yeah, Google doesn't let anybody see that for any reason. So maybe Australians just don't get those services anymore. I can't see them playing ball with that.
No.
That's going to be an interesting fight. Maybe they'll just give them like a fake one. You count on them not being able
being able to parse it.
Yeah, that'd be funny. But that'll be a fun fight to watch.
Unlike the space battle.
Right, yeah, much better than that. Also, we're moving into the social media section, and many of you dislike Facebook stories.
Well, that's like the next 5, so.
All but one.
Prepare yourself.
All but one of social media. So
gird your loins.
I'm sorry, but it is Facebook heavy today. And the first one, not a lot of new information here, but Facebook has made some announcements after the $5 billion fine.
Facebook warns of costly privacy changes, discloses another U.S. probe.
Unsurprisingly, this new privacy focus that Zuckerberg is championing, it's going to make them really, really make a lot less money. Because privacy is kind of anathema to what Facebook is.
Well, it's a free service. They're selling you, right? Like, that's what they always say.
So how do we make money while being private? And I don't know that they've figured that out yet. Also, turns out the government is not done with them. Because once again, they're sniffing around, poking around.
Looking for more money.
At Mr. Zuckerberg. And you might think, no, it's not Mr. Zuckerberg. It's Facebook. Why does everybody personify Zuckerberg as Facebook? It's unfair.
FTC to hold Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg liable for any future privacy violations. Who has he upset with an offering of goat? That like.
Well, I think those leaked documents had a lot to do with this because he went in front of Congress and lied his little pants off, and then it came out that he did know the answer to a lot of those questions, and a lot of that stuff was on purpose, and then there was the whole a lot of people get the idea that they orchestrated that $5 billion fine. Like, basically, they wrote it themselves. It's like, oh, no, $5 billion. What will we do? And
as they're, like, sniffing cocaine off of a desk. Like, oh, no.
I think some of the people in the government who understand that are kind of like, no, we're going to go after him in particular because he's clearly making all these decisions, right? And then there was that time that the shareholders tried to get rid of him, and he was just like, nah, bro. That's not how it works.
See, I would think, like, after a certain point, if you have enough money, maybe you would just quit. But, like,
no.
he's probably attracted to the power, right?
But see, that's the thing. You never learn those people's names because they get some money and they quit.
Mm.
Yeah. So there's a certain kind of person who becomes one of these people, and you are not those people.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And they're sadly usually pretty evil. Now, when Cambridge Analytica happened, that was the spark. That was the primer that set off everything that's happened with Facebook and even Google getting caught up in that blast because, we found out about all the horrible things that Google was doing with our privacy. Maybe we never would have even questioned it if not for Cambridge Analytica. And when we found out about Cambridge Analytica, it was the API, right? Mm-hmm. Because Facebook was like, hey, here's some code we did, and you can go ahead and use it. Just connect to this API, and you can look up all this wonderful stuff. And we learned about that. And Facebook was like, we're not doing that anymore. Asterisks.
But we kind of are.
And finally, now, how many years ago was that? They are turning off the last two.
Facebook ends friend data access for Microsoft and Sony, the last two of its legacy partners under FTC deal. And then there's the giant photo. The future is private. And it's not true. Future, I guess that is actually true. The far future is private.
I don't think so. I think it's the opposite.
The past is private and the future will never be private again.
How are we ever going to have privacy ever again?
That's true. Not like we used to.
Yeah. Unless there's an EMP or something, or a solar event.
And then we're screwed on a different level.
You'll have all the privacy that you want in your mud hut.
You have a house. You'd be all right. I mean, it wouldn't have services, but, like, you'd have a roof over your head.
But where would I go for food?
You got 2 cats.
Well, they're like 7 pounds each.
That's like months of food.
Plus, I'd have to keep one alive while I ate the other one.
Oh.
What am I going to feed him? Anyway.
That would be brutal. Sophie's choice there.
Oh, I would eat crouton first.
Wow, you didn't even hesitate.
Toast is bae.
That's the cuddly one, right?
The fatter, softer one.
Yeah.
And he spends way more time with me. They're actually getting to the point where they can actually be apart from each other for a little while at a time.
And it doesn't bother him as much. They're probably more comfortable at your house now.
So, Toast is best boy. I mean, I still love Crouton, but Crouton's more fun to pet because he really enjoys it.
Yeah.
But anyway, Facebook all this time was still letting Sony and Microsoft use that same API that Cambridge Analytica was using. And they didn't necessarily make this decision on their own. This was part of the deal, part of the $5 billion deal. They had to dude, you have to stop letting them do that. And they were like, okay.
I guess.
If you're going to let us get away with $5 billion, okay. So, bad news for Sony and Microsoft. They have finally been cut off from the flow of information. Now, when it comes to the big tech companies, the Trojan horse, perhaps, that the government often uses to destroy a thing is, won't someone think about the kids?
Mm.
What the vapes, the flavored cigarettes, all that business.
The jewel pens.
People
or whatever
were making money hand over fist, and the government's like, no, think about the children. Media, all of the controls that we have over television and all that. It's like, oh, no, a kid might see that. And we have all these stupid rules. And that's the way that they control us, is with the children. And Facebook is finding that out firsthand.
Facebook design flaw let thousands of kids join chats with unauthorized users. It was a technical error. I didn't realize Facebook had a kid version. That's what I learned from this article.
I don't know if it's like Facebook Kids as much as it is you put your age in there, And
it just neuters some features.
It's like, oh, you're a kid. So.
Yeah.
Now, I want to take this time to bring up some future predictions that Krista has about her child, which doesn't exist yet. Her theoretical child. Age when they will get a mobile phone.
Oh, when they start like driving, I would think.
16 in the U.S. Krista believes that she will prevent
an actual smartphone, I would say.
No, you're changing your answer now. But even then,
I don't want them to have like an internet-connected device stuck to their hip their entire life.
At that point, you're going to have a hell of a time finding a non-smartphone.
I know.
Even a clamshell is going to have internet connectivity.
See, I'd rather... I don't mind like the kid having a way to like contact their parents or something. I just don't really want them on the internet 24/7.
That is so unrealistic. Now, the other one is internet-connected device at home.
Like unrestricted access or like what?
Well, let's say you give them a tablet. You know, they got it in their room.
They won't be able to do that when they're young.
What age?
Probably like, I don't know. I don't know if I would let them do that until they were a teenager. Like really.
13?
Yeah.
No, chat.
I mean, like chat. Letting them have a tablet is one thing for like educational games and stuff, but like giving unrestricted access to something like that. Do you want your 6-year-old watching Two Girls, One Cup?
I don't disagree with you in theory, but I think in practice, that kid is going to wear you down. It's going to be the only kid that doesn't have that.
Probably.
And you realize kids are getting bullied over like Fortnite skins at this point.
What a weird world we live in.
And you're thinking about bringing life into it.
Someone asked the other day, we were doing a stream and we were playing Overwatch, and someone asked, what if your kid's a Hanzo main? And I was like, oh no.
You got to think.
By the time I have a kid, like, there's probably going to be like 60 characters in that game, and they pick Hanzo.
Tough.
It's tough life.
It's tough. You got to deal with it, though, right? You got to support them.
If you want to try and get headshots and, you know, dragging the enemy spawn, it's, you know, that's what you're going to do.
Well, finally, we're done with Facebook news. So let's talk about YouTube. Now, YouTube, it's kind of a wreck. We get demonetized almost every time, I think, at this point. And the whole discoverability thing, it's just not there. All the reasons that people love YouTube has kind of eroded away in the wake of the adpocalypse. And some people have had enough.
The YouTubers Union is not messing around. The YouTubers Union has joined forces with Europe's largest trade union to fight for a fair platform. Look, this guy looks like he means business. Or he's a history teacher.
I'm not sure, but that looks like a guy whose YouTube channel I watch because he makes like crossbows and stuff.
I don't know who that is. Is there a caption? There isn't a caption on that.
It says Jorg Sprave. Jorg. Anyway, so this is Germany's largest union and Europe's largest trade union. IG Metall has created a YouTubers union, or joined with them, called FairTube, and they're fighting back against all these things. And they're saying that if you demonetize me, you tell me how or why. If you don't make my video discoverable, why not? Why did you choose this one over me to recommend when I'm, more apt for this kind of topic? They want some vision into all of this nonsense that YouTube is doing, and they're getting a giant union behind them, which maybe they'll get some traction.
Maybe.
The problem here is YouTube is not anywhere near the biggest moneymaker for Google.
I feel like YouTube would probably be a money pit because of the hosting cost.
I think they make some money, but the adpocalypse is certainly a way to try to get more.
Yeah.
And so if you have unions coming in trying to be a part of that and taking their cut, their pound of flesh, at what point is Google just like, okay, we're done. We're done with this?
I wonder if one day in the distant future, if there will just be a video site, but it's all specific to the certain type of content you want.
Well, that would be a disaster.
It's like, like cat YouTube, and then, that's hosted by one company, and then dog YouTube, that's hosted by another company. And
I suppose that would help with the advertising stuff.
It would help with the advertising, and then it'd be more specialized and niche, I guess. But
think about
less videos to host all the time.
The beauty of YouTube is that you
can just stumble into weird places.
You'll start with cats. Before you know it, you're into something completely different.
Yeah.
And you love it.
Vogue videos about doing makeup, and I was like, I don't do my makeup.
Or MREs.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I suspect, though, like, what if you're... The great thing about YouTube, one of the great things about YouTube, is there's no barrier to entry, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we bought $20,000 worth of studio equipment, but there was kind of already...
There was some of that stuff already existed.
An audience in place there. So if you are just a thought and you're looking to do makeup tutorials or whatever, you can just start doing that. But what if all of a sudden now you got to pay union dues?
Yeah.
And your channel doesn't make any money for the first 2 years. So you're out a bunch of union due money just to be part of YouTube. The whole pay to work thing. It's got its problems as well. But we'll see. And we'll see you tomorrow when we talk about business and a surprise category that we haven't decided yet.
Woohoo! Bye! Hello, friends. Today's Wednesday, July 31st, and today is robots and another category I don't remember.
Business, actually, is the first one, not robots.
I was excited about the robot stories. Anyway, continue.
Also, we're sneaking 3D printing into the robot section.
Because we're desperate for content.
Not a lot of robot news. But there is some big business news. And maybe not surprising, but big news, right? It's Apple.
Apple buys Intel's smartphone modem business, taking its modems in-house.
Ooh.
That's the subheadline. That was kind of a boring subheadline, but, I'll accept it.
Well, it's big news. Now, as we all know, Apple and Qualcomm settled their cat fight, their decade-long cat fight. Apple is actually contracted with Qualcomm for 6 years, I believe. So we have to imagine that during those 6 years, they're going to be trying to fix the garbage that was the Intel modems business. And at the end of that 6 years, Qualcomm might be in a rough spot because Apple might have their own modem business. Although those antitrust probes, probably not a good look.
They're just poking away
when
at
when you're making even more parts yourself.
What sound do you think it makes when they probe Apple?
It probably makes
squishy?
It's the sound that the error sound from the old Mac.
I don't know if I've heard that.
Well, I'm sure the chat will try to describe it for you.
So
someone
will link it and then it'll get flagged by YouTube and they won't see their comment.
It's if you worked for Intel in this department, it's just like boom, you work for Apple now. Like they just give them everything. They are going to make...
That's crazy.
They're going to make modems for everything else. They can still do Internet of Things and tablets and shit, but not smartphone modems. Probably a smart buy for Apple, honestly.
Yeah.
The other big business news, of course, we've been talking about T-Mobile and Sprint. Will they get together?
Won't they?
Chrissy, you're going to be merging soon.
I am going to be merging.
So,
Yellow.
Have you gotten permission from the federal government?
Yeah, we got our marriage. I keep calling it a wedding certificate, and that's not right. It's a marriage license.
Marriage license.
Yeah.
Isn't it sad that we live in a world where to declare your love for someone else, you have to get a license?
I'm kind of okay with it.
You would be.
The best part of it, though, is like when you fill it out, it's surprisingly easy. It took us like 20 minutes. But
have you seen some of the people who get married? Did you think there was like a written test?
Well, I thought I don't know, it asked for more information. But one of the things it asks for, are you related?
Now, here's a engagement challenge. Of course, we're in Kentucky, and that's the stereotype. Those of you who are married, did you have to put that on your marriage certificate in other states?
Apparently, they used to make you do a blood test, and that was like every state in the U.S.
You know what? They should do a blood test and screen it for methamphetamine.
They screened for sexually transmitted diseases, and they would let the other spouse know before it happened.
That's a tough decision.
Yeah.
And it's like, do I go through with it?
I mean, they have some sort of horrible...
What if it's the herpes? Anyway, none of that has anything to do with T-Mobile.
It doesn't. T-Mobile wins Sprint deal approval with plan to create rival. Create? I don't know why I pronounced it that way. Anyway, continue.
T-Mobile and Sprint. So, the rival will be Dish.
Which rival? I don't.
Dish will be getting the what do they call their
pay to
Boost?
Yeah.
Boost. They're going to get Boost, all the prepaid stuff, And that spinoff gets to use the new company's 5G for 6 years while it builds its own.
Which, considering, how great 5G is, it's like, wow, what a great deal that was.
Yeah. Well, that'd be good because when we find out that it's killing us all, Dish can be like, that's not ours, bro.
Well, not ours, yeah.
Not it.
This is Sprint T-Mobile.
So, yeah, probably not great for competition.
Whose name are they keeping?
I think they're keeping, I don't know. That's a good question. I think T-Mobile is
in the marriage.
T-Mobile's the
wants to take
the bigger
Sprint.
one, right?
Yeah, I think.
I don't know. Who do you think's got the better name recognition? Sprint's been around longer, right?
Yeah. I would say probably T-Mobile.
But T-Mobile has that reputation as sort of like the maverick mobile carrier. Right?
Yeah, I think I would recognize T-Mobile more. Sprint seems more old-fashioned.
Yeah, well, that's what T-Mobile is known for. Like they kind of like got it. They did away with the contracts and did the unlimited data plan. So they're like the hot new mobile provider. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure that Sprint's board of directors will fight doggedly to tear down all that innovation. Samsung, they're a big name in technology.
You're right.
They made a little bit of a mistake. Small mistake. That was the Galaxy Fold.
Samsung Galaxy Fold is ready for launch after screen fix. So they've corrected the mistake. It's working now. The foldable screen is a thing.
Galaxy Fold launch, is this April 2019?
No.
September. Because they screwed it up.
I don't know. I don't necessarily hate the idea. I just feel like who wants this?
Let me.
I always make this like every time I see this. I have to ask who wants this.
Let me change your mind a little bit, right? You think this is a pretty good idea? You think it's like kind of cool?
I don't.
Like, wouldn't mind having one, right?
I wouldn't. I don't really want one, but like
$2,000.
Oh. But why? Like that's the thing. Like it doesn't really solve a problem that's worth. It's not worth $2,000 to me, because it's not. It's a solution looking for a problem.
So they had several issues. We've talked about this before, where they had the crumbs and dirt would get down in the little crack. So they basically just put some glue in there.
That's fine.
They had the protective cover that people thought you could tear off because it like ran off the side or something, and they were like, "Oh, maybe we should have tucked that in." They fixed that. They say it's ready to go. Ready in September, so if you want one, I guess now's the time, right?
The thing I'm already annoyed with this is that it's going to change the mobile landscape, and there's going to be a whole new series of horrible screen sizes we'll have to test in.
Well, that will be roughly small tablet size, right? I don't think it'll be a big difference. Yeah. So. But
some of our clients,
they'll probably get one,
and they'll be like, "It doesn't look right in my weird foldable phone."
Now, speaking of mergers for big companies, remember when AT&T and DirecTV merged? I guess that was more of an acquisition.
Yeah.
And they made a promise. They said, listen, this merger is going to be so good for us and for the industry, we don't need to raise prices. So don't worry about that. We won't be raising prices.
Never. Never, ever. AT&T loses nearly 1 million TV customers after raising DirecTV prices. Oh.
Not the first time they've done it.
What did you say? It was like 4 or 5 times?
It's been several times they have raised the prices. Now, this last one was pretty dramatic, and they really lost a lot of people. 778,000 subscribers is quite a bit. And, of course, we have the cord cutters.
I was going to say, there's hardly any reason to keep it anyway, and if you're raising the price, like, not a good move.
The comment on this Ars Technica article, oops.
It's a promoted comment.
That was the wrong button. Voy de he talked about his experience. It took him a total amount of like 3 hours to cancel his account. The first 2 people he talked to just simply would not do it. And they kept just like ignoring him and being like, "Sir, tell me what channels you watch so that we can build you a better package." And he was like, "No, I don't want a better package. I want to cancel." And they just would not cancel his account. The third person, after seeing the call log, agreed to give him a $25 credit for his suffering. But you can tell they're bleeding. So that's loss prevention. They actually give those phone monkeys bonuses if they can stop you from canceling. So
I feel like that would make me furious. Like, I generally try to be really nice to the phone monkeys, as you call them, because I know that they're doing a crappy job just because, like, they need the money.
why are they doing it?
They need money for goods and services to survive.
So do I.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
Listen, you have no empathy for people.
You're right. I don't. Because you know what?
But that would drive me insane.
There's
like 3 hours
too many
later.
of them.
3 hours later, I would probably be like ready to wring someone's neck.
I would love to watch that.
What, me wringing someone's neck or like yelling at someone on
No,
the phone?
you slowly turning into darkness as you waited 3 hours to try to cancel.
To try just to cancel account, yeah.
It would be more exciting than a satellite fight. I'll tell you that.
Uh-huh.
Krista, you don't have any Bitcoin.
I don't.
You
I have
are
no
missing.
cryptocurrency.
You're missing out. Do you not have a fear of that?
No, I don't. I don't have any FOMO.
You should get some. What do you think about the prediction that? So we have the doubling will happen again in I think 2021. They're predicting, and some people are saying $100,000. What if I get $100,000 for my Bitcoin and could buy a sweet piece of land that you could have had?
I wouldn't have been able to have it because I didn't have the money for it.
You would have had $100,000.
Are you planning on moving from your house that quick?
No, this is extra land.
Oh, you're just gonna buy it just to shoot on, or
Yeah, well,
to
maybe
make a cat wildlife
maybe I'll raise
refuge?
some cattle.
You can become a gentleman alpaca farmer, like
Any-
all the brochures.
Anyway, those of us that do have cryptocurrency have to worry about Mr. IRS.
IRS sending warning letters to more than 10,000 cryptocurrency holders. You didn't get one though.
No. I go through a reputable exchange, which absolutely reports my transactions to the IRS. This is for example, if you mine your cryptocurrency, no one has any idea that it's you till
That
you
you
sell
have
it.
Yeah.
So the IRS, and there was really nothing actionable here. This was basically, it's just like, hey, bro, yeah, we see, we know.
We know what's going on.
Don't try to hide it. It's kind of, it's like one of those little threats that the IRS does because, they're power hungry or
Money hungry.
power freaks. There's another job. Do you have empathy for people who work at the IRS?
Yeah.
Disgusting.
I've had to call people for that kind of thing, and I try to be nice.
You've had to call people to take their money?
No, but like I've had to contact people at like my student loan provider and stuff to get like tax documents, and like I try to be nice to those people because that's a sucky job, and they probably get yelled at all day, so I don't yell at them and make it worse.
But they're working on the Death Star.
I know. Just one person.
iPhones, Krista.
Yes.
How
Don't really care about iPhones, but
I don't either, but they are a fact of life.
they are.
They exist.
And some people will probably be excited by this.
We have to deal with them. I guess some people, I don't know, they don't seem that exciting to me.
No. Apple to release 3 iPhone 11 models this fall, including A13 chip, new taptic engine. Did I say that right? More.
Yeah, the
Tell me more.
taptic engine is replacing the haptic engine.
Oh.
Oh, get it?
Uh,
So there's a list of features here, and the A13 chip and the taptic engine are the big ones, which not super exciting. The cameras, you can see here, you got the 4 cameras on the front. There's a,
the aesthetic of that is not particularly pleasing, but
you might like this. There is a like crop forgiveness type of thing going on. So let's say that you take a picture, but you're shit at taking pictures. It's going to use those other cameras to go ahead and take the picture around your picture. And then if you're like,
composite an image together based on like your crappy.
well, if you go in and you're like, oh crap, I cropped out grandma, or
Yeah.
like, I cut her face in half. I wish I could just,
Scoot it.
You can do that.
Wow.
But eventually,
It's trying to idiot proof it, but
after a certain amount of time, the phone will then just get rid of those extra pictures because
you don't need them.
you only have a certain amount of time to do that. So Still not a feature that I would buy a new phone over.
No, because it's like, well, I could just frame the photo better. Like,
I wonder, now back in the day, everybody always got the new iPhone when it came out.
yeah, people used to camp out for them.
What percentage of people do you think are still doing that every year?
I don't know anybody who does that now. I remember some people doing it, like with the earlier models, even here in little old Kentucky, but not anymore. I'm not that interested in phones for the most part. When I'm due for an upgrade.
I am not. I think I am due for an upgrade.
And you just don't care enough
and
to get one?
I really don't use it for that many things. And I especially don't use my phone for gaming.
Yeah, not the target audience.
I mean, Pixel Dungeon.
Yeah.
I've played some Pixel Dungeon.
I played Plague Inc. for a while on my phone. I don't think I have it anymore.
Oh, yeah. That wouldn't be a terrible phone game. But for the most part, I find mobile gaming is just like, why? Why would you do that?
Yeah, just play on your PC. If you have one, play on your PC.
But we are in the minority because mobile gaming has exploded. I believe that, is it PUBG? Fortnite has mobile, right?
Yeah, Fortnite's big mobile.
I think Fortnite mobile is bigger than Fortnite desktop at this point.
I could see that.
And
more people have access to a phone.
People want phones that can play these games, and ASUS is going to give it to them. Oops, I pushed the wrong button. I just made a...
ASUS Republic of Gamers phone, official with Snapdragon 855 plus, 12 of RAM, and 6,000...
You kind of lost steam there.
I did a little bit. Anyway, new gaming phone. This is the picture of it.
There it is.
Didn't you say there was some sort of thing you can attach to the bottom to cool it? They didn't have a picture of that in this article.
So these cuts here.
Yeah.
This actually gives entrance into airflow into the phone. So they will sell you a cooler that you can put on the back there that will cool it as you play some hardcore games. And shoulder buttons. It's got shoulder buttons.
I do think that's kind of cool.
Mm.
Still would rather play on my PC, but
Yeah.
I'm not the target audience for this, but I think that's kind of cool. Definitely more innovative than...
What if they did Overwatch Mobile? Would you try it?
No. I struggle to aim with a keyboard and mouse. I would not be able to do it.
You could play a
in this
character
format.
that's not like aim
dependent. Yeah, like Mercy or Moira. Reinhardt. I think it would still just be awkward though. I'm not good with a controller. I haven't played with a controller in a long time.
Well, for a first-person game,
Yeah.
certainly that's not ideal. DoorDash.
Yes.
Have you ever used any of those?
No, I found out that the local Asian place that we like to go to, except it's really loud, they do DoorDash. So it's really loud in there, so we don't go in there a lot because it is so loud.
Are you sure it's... Because a lot of those places just do the college.
No, I think it does it like citywide.
But it's very expensive to get a DoorDash.
Yeah, I took the card because I had a business card because I went to pick some food up the other day and I was like, oh, maybe I'll do this next time, but I've not done it yet.
So the other thing about that is, of course, here in America, a lot of the Euros don't know anything about this, but tipping is expected.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, DoorDash has a dirty secret.
DoorDash CEO announces that now your tips will go to delivery workers, but the details are still unclear.
Ooh. So for those of you who are international viewers, I'll tell you how this works because people might not know. In the wait service industry, squeak, squeak, squeak.
Sorry, I'm like, I'm very bouncy today.
Have some M&Ms and coffee and calm down a little bit. The wait staff gets paid a very small amount. What is it, like $5 an hour? Something like that?
It might be less. I think it's like, 4 or 5.
That is their base salary, which of course is laughable, you know.
And it's well below the minimum wage, like, that we require.
But they get tips, and the tips will almost always round that up to a decent amount. I mean, not great, but a decent amount. Those tips get taxed as income, and it's overall it's a bad deal.
It's a bad system for everybody involved.
And some restaurants will pool the tips, which is just...
That would make me angry if I was a server.
That's restaurant communism, and it has no place in America. And some of them will... and the way they're all doing this is they use the tips to compensate for not paying a living wage. And it seems like DoorDash was doing that exact same thing.
Yes.
Which is disgusting.
Well, and what's really annoying about that is that, like, just to say, like, oh, the tips do go to delivery workers. Like, you have to tip, and then just taking it for themselves, like, that's shitty.
Yeah, well, they were doing it
real shitty.
So the tip would go toward filling out the minimum that they pay the DoorDash people, and then they would give them whatever's left over. Disgusting. Yes. I always, I don't get delivery now because I live too far away from civilization. But when I lived here in the city, I would, if I had to order with my credit card, then
I'm just laughing.
You just freaked out a little bit.
Here in the city. That's what made me laugh.
I would order with a credit card if I had to. I didn't like to. But then I would always tip with cash because then you know.
That they got it.
Yeah, and if they're smart, they don't even tell anybody about that. So like, oh, that prick didn't give me anything, which I'm fine. I'll be the villain.
So you can be the true hero that Gotham needs. So, yeah, it's unfortunate. So if you do, now they say they're going to do it better, but who knows? But
so if you are going to DoorDash, I would suggest keep a little bit of cash on hand.
And just give it to the driver.
Just drop it on them. Plus, I hate the idea of, and maybe this with the app it solves that. When you pay with a credit card to order pizza, for example, you have to pre-tip. I don't know what kind of service they're going to give me.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, you don't have in pizza. You don't have to. You can still do cash.
Not everywhere.
But there's a delivery charge.
Not if you order online.
There's a delivery charge, which.
If you order online for some of these places around here, you can't.
Really?
Yeah.
The place I order from, you can.
Oh, look at you.
I just go wherever the coupons are usually. But
Krista, you are. We've already talked about this. You're going to be getting into the world of Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
You've never been there before. You're a Luddite. You hate.
I mean, I have an Amazon account. I just don't have Prime. My fiance does.
Which is, it's like having a car with no gasoline. It's pointless. But once you do, and you get the taste of those sweet free deliveries, and you find out what it's like, you might start ordering a lot more stuff, and this might start to matter to you.
UPS is launching a drone delivery service in the U.S. Scroll down so you can see the picture, because this is amazing. Oh,
boom!
Look at him carrying the package. Bad news, though, not used for residential yet.
Not yet.
Not important for us just yet.
Now, the cool news here is we've been hearing about these UPS drones for years. Everybody's been talking about it. Remember the video they did where it launched out of the truck? And it went to it delivered a package to a farm while the truck was delivering a package to another farm.
Yeah.
And they met back up, and I was like, wow. Oh, none of that. We're not doing any of that.
No, it's not nothing that cool yet.
But they have passed the testing phase, and they're like, okay, these work. They do what we want. We're going to start using them. But for now, just for medical stuff. But I imagine it won't be long till they put those over into retail deliveries.
Yeah, if it can handle medical field. That could be carrying a human heart. Probably isn't, but it could be.
Well, it makes sense, right? I mean, because the heart needs to be there right now.
Yeah, it also has to be kept cool, so you probably wouldn't be able to do that.
Well, you could throw some ice in there.
Just a human heart flying above the city.
Put it in one of these bad boys, my new thermos.
Oh, that's going to be on your Christmas list this year, isn't
I'm
it?
so excited about this thermos, chat. This is my new thing. I'm going to be that guy that always has the thermos.
The thermos, yeah.
Yeah.
You have had it like every day I've seen you.
Which has been 2 days since I've got it.
Yeah. So.
But I'm just blown away by the cooling technology. I didn't realize the thermoses had come to this point.
Did you not have a thermos growing up, like when you went to school?
I had a Masters of the Universe thermos. It did not have vacuum wall technology.
So it wasn't that good.
No, it was plastic.
No, I used to do soup in a thermos. That's going to be on his Christmas list this year. So that's like a preview. I feel like all the stuff we put on the Level 1 Christmas list is like super bizarre. Like one year I put on like natural soap. We're not like the other tech channels.
We're not normies.
Yeah.
And that's what makes us special. You know who else is special? BMW.
BMW now charges $80 a year for Apple CarPlay. Which you're like, maybe that's not so bad until you realize Apple CarPlay is free.
Yeah, let's compare that to every other car maker.
Yeah.
It's plus $80. Now that is $80 a year.
Yes.
But let's say that you want just a one-time payment. That's only $300.
Wow,
Big
what a deal.
savings. Big
what
savings.
A deal.
That's actually only for 20 years, but what BMW is going to make it for 20 years? So
what car makes it to 20 years anymore?
a lot of people driving 20-year-old cars.
Actually, my fiance might be one. Never mind.
Mm,
Not quite, but it's
No.
very close
that'd be like
to 20 years.
6 more years, right?
Yeah.
So this is just crazy. They're saying that, okay, in order to use the Apple CarPlay, which BMW doesn't make, and it doesn't cost them anything to put it in the car, as far as I know. It might cost a little something, but again, everybody else is doing that. And you pay these navigation packages. I didn't get the navigation package in my car.
Why would you do that? Because if you have a smartphone.
And it was $5,000. Yeah.
Why?
So you're going to pay a huge premium up front to put a navigation package in one of these BMWs. And then on top of that, they're going to hit you for that 80.
Some people have more money than sense, to quote my mom.
Now, speaking of unnecessary fees, how about Tinder? Now, I didn't know.
Is it pay?
I didn't know that Tinder costs money. I thought that was just like you signed up, right?
I assumed you just signed up. I bet there may be a premium version. I've never used it.
What does that get you think?
I don't know.
Mm.
Maybe more features? Anyway, Tinder bypasses Google Play, joining revolt against App Store fee. Google Play takes what, 20%?
20%.
For listing your app on the App Store?
But that's not just that. They also take a piece of your credit card transactions.
Ooh.
So that's what Tinder has done here. Tinder is now requiring you to put your credit card directly into the Tinder app. And then once you do that, there's no more option to use Google Play to pay for Tinder.
That's Tinder's probably big enough they can do that. Same way like Spotify was.
Spotify did it, and who was the other big name? Oh, it was Fortnite, right?
Probably, yeah.
I think Fortnite did that.
All of them are like household names that you can probably get by with. If you were like a new app, you probably couldn't do this, but.
And it does signal kind of like an ongoing trend. People are like, we're not paying it, bro.
Yeah.
We're not doing that. So next week we'll announce that Google now requires you to use Google Play payments in order to be on the Android operating system. I want to let you read this headline.
God damn you. That's not pronounced right. Prices to slide more than 40% in 2019 because chip makers can't forecast. And look at this. Look how frustrated this young businessman looks in the stock photo.
He's looking at nudes, and he just ran up on one of the opposite gender of the ones he wanted to look at. So yeah, we've actually talked about this before, but here's a quick reminder. DRAM, gonna get cheap. They made too much. Oops, all chips. Oops, all wafers. Silicon wafers.
Whoops.
You should make that parody for the Level 1 forum.
There's been some good shit posts on the Level 1 forum recently. Summer is coming to a close, so people are coming back to the forum, I think.
So yeah.
It usually slows down a little bit in summertime.
They made way too much, and it's going to be good news for you. I would say probably maybe around Black Friday going into the holiday season, you're going to see some hot RAM deals. You can get more
for your
of
loved
it.
ones.
Fill up those Christmas stockings.
Your mom opens it. It's like, what is this?
What if I got you that for a wedding present?
That would
Just a massive, just loose, like not even matching RAM, just loose.
It's fine.
Some of it's laptop RAM, some of it's phone RAM. Oh, that'd be funny.
I would love to see that, like with a parent, like as a parent stocking stuffer, and your parents just like, what the hell is this?
Oh, you mean you get it
yeah,
for
like
your
for
parent?
your parents, yeah.
Yeah. Well, but you know, just it'd be like, oh, okay, go install it. You know,
Or
like
it's
that.
like, oh crap, yeah.
We don't do design stories very often because somebody doesn't add them.
There's not always good ones because sometimes it's just like subjectively whether you think something's good or not.
Well, isn't that life? Anyway,
You have to get full detail and like
I added
they're not
this
something
one.
that lends itself to this format.
I'm not even into design. I added this one, and then we find out that somebody has leaked the Windows 10 Start menu. Let's take a look at it. I kind of did the headline there.
You did.
Here it is.
I visually do not like this.
What don't you like?
It feels a little bit like the ancient start menu of
Windows 95.
Of yore, yeah.
It does look a little Windows 95.
It does.
Now, I imagine that background color will change based on your
theme,
background preference. Now, the tablet version, you might like a little bit better.
It looks a little bit better. I do like that, each of these is labeled. I don't know, though. It's not great. Like, just visually, I would want to use it as well. Like, because I think functionally it'll probably be better than what the previous one was. But visually, I think it needs some refinement.
Honestly,
certainly easier to search.
With the Windows shortcut, like, you just search or you go to the command prompt. I never use the start menu.
Yeah, I don't use the start menu very often either.
So I could live without it. But people need it. They want it and they need it. We talked in the last episode about hair, and this story would have been useful to have at that point, right?
It was, but but it wasn't in the same category.
Can't break the categories.
No.
That would be just
blasphemous.
Anarchy, and we can't have that. But like I said, we moved 3D printing into the robot section, and that's what this is about.
Soon there will be unlimited hair. New uses of stem cells in 3D printing could make baldness obsolete. Parentheses, for the wealthy.
So this is pretty amazing, and if you're getting excited, I would say calm yourself.
Yeah, because we're going to show you a picture of what you get.
So the crazy thing here, this is stem cell creation of hair from your own stem cells, not fetal stem cells. So calm down your anti-abortion tirades. They harvest these from you. Then they grow these little hair things. So it turns out hair needs to grow as like a clump. Right.
It's not just like a single strand.
When they were building them one at a time, and they were like, "Why do these keep dying?" Well, they're lonely.
They need friends.
They're
like chinchillas.
You have to have a certain amount of them, and so they figured out they could build these little clusters with stem cells and grow them, and then pop them in your head, similar to how they do where they cut it out the back of your head and put it in the front.
Yeah.
One follicle at a time. It's similar to that. Now, right now, this technology is going to cost you about $10,000. So let's look at what you get for $10,000. Nice.
That's a lot of hair.
I
think that's 100% worth it, and that we should have a Patreon stretch goal to get your hair.
You think there are 50 hairs there?
I would say so.
About. So yeah, you can do the math there.
That's about the same width as Kevin Brosh's facial hair.
That is, I don't know who that is.
That's one of the announcers for Iron Chef. Look up his facial hair. It's literally just like a little line.
But
you just want to shave it off.
That's a lot per hair.
Yes.
And you need a lot of hairs if you're going to
recover baldness.
Absolutely. So we will. Now this is also on a mouse. So if that thing back there, that's a mouse. That's a bald mouse.
Yeah, it doesn't look great, does it?
But that's the kind of cost you're looking at if you want this technology. Now, if you are Donald Trump, for example, you want some hair?
He probably would do it.
Why not?
He may do it soon.
Throw $10 million at it. Fix it. Fix your hair. But for the rest of us, this is just a beautiful dream.
A pipe dream. A beautiful dream. I don't know if that's beauty. This picture of a rat's ass with hair on it, but...
Well, that's what my look's going to be. I'm going to have to shave my head, so I'm going to be the rat.
But just instead of a rat tail... Oh my gosh, it's like a rat tail, but like...
A literal rat tail.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a cool use of 3D printing. 3D print some hair. Maybe we'll do other organs after this, too.
Maybe.
Could be a cool thing. Because that's what we need. To extend human life even further, so we overpopulate the world even more. Wow, that'll be great. And then everybody will have beautiful hair, so they'll breed more.
Anyway.
Let's talk about AI.
Let's talk about it. Waymo and DeepMind mimic evolution to develop a new, better way to train self-driving AI.
This, it's interesting because this little animation kind of does explain what's going on here.
Yeah, I've watched this several times when we were discussing it earlier.
But you'd have to know what's happening before you understood it. So this is population-based AI. What does that mean? Well, we know about the discriminator AIs, where they, you have one AI that's doing the thing, Then you have another AI that's observing and being like, no, bro, that one's garbage. Throw that one away. Or, okay, that one's pretty good. Keep that one. And you get better quickly when that's happening because the AI is sort of, judging itself. But these guys said, what if we did that was kind of like evolution, where we have a bunch of these AIs training on their own, but then we judge them against each other. I know it's exciting.
Yeah.
Try to contain yourself.
Sorry.
And do it in a sort of an evolutionary way, and that's what they've built here. So Waymo has said, we don't just want one AI trying to learn to drive. We want thousands of them trying
Lots
to learn
of
to drive.
branches.
Competing, seeing who's the best. And they can introduce little, what if we just send a couple of AIs out, a small population, to see what it's like driving on mountains? See what they learn.
They'll just crash immediately. we were not prepared for this, is what we learned.
But it's pretty cool because it's a new way to use existing AI technology. And it's like human evolution. Because we've come so far. We're so much better than the people that came before us. And we're not devolving at all. That's not a thing. Krista, how excited are you about electric pickup trucks?
Just absolutely just blown away. So excited.
Now, let's say it's 5 years down the road,
Mm-hmm.
and you've got a kid, and you've settled into your life of mediocrity in marriage,
Right.
and you've got a home,
That'd be amazing.
and when you have a house, you find uses for a truck.
Yeah.
Are you going to get an electric truck?
I wouldn't mind getting an electric car. My issue would be where do I charge it? And it's so much more expensive. I don't know if it would be worth it.
At that point, I think we'll have chargers.
You think?
Yeah.
I don't know. I might look into it. I don't know if we would get a truck. But
How about an F-150?
Ford teases all-electric F-150 pickup truck by pulling a 1 million pound train. There it is. Look at it.
Now, this train back here, empty. This train, full of regular F-150s. How great is that? So, yes, this was actually a little over 1 million pounds because of all those trucks, and it did pull it quite 1,000 feet.
I like the block quote in this article. An all-male retinue of fluorescent vest-wearing truck owners are brought in to gawk and shout, "No way!" Which is
Yeah.
pretty much what the ad is.
Well, The
but-
Verge is woke.
Yeah.
Although this is a woman. The woman was presenting.
I mean, the Ford F-150, I'd say that overwhelmingly their target audience is probably older
Krista,
males.
not only men drive F-150s the same way that not only men have penises.
Right.
It's 2019. Get with it. So anyway, now they did say, here's some more quotes that we need to look at, Krista. They say this was a one-time short event registration, and here's the big one.
Far beyond any
You can't see
production
it.
truck's published capacity.
So in other words, this was a souped-up superpower prototype F-150.
Are you implying that they would make something up for an ad?
And I think it happened. I think they did it, but I think this was a real badass electric motor
Yeah.
they had in this thing. And the one they're going to sell you, don't try to tow 1 million pounds with it.
No. It'd probably be fine, though, for lugging some furniture around.
Yeah, oh yeah. You throw a couch on it all day long.
Yeah.
Yeah, it won't be an issue. There's all the trucks lined up that it pulled, plus the train.
That's cool. More competition.
Look at all that battery pack going on down there. Not got a lot of clearance.
I was going to say, what happens if you scrape that?
A burst in flame.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably fine. You'll survive it.
We've already seen what happens with Tesla. Okay, now we went over the stories quickly. Sometimes Krista doesn't read the stories.
I don't always have time. And
So
I was spent all day yesterday arranging flowers with my mom. So
doesn't somebody do that for you?
only if you're rich. I did my own centerpieces, son.
Are you gonna cook too?
No, we did hire someone to do the food for us.
There's no headline.
There isn't. There's something wrong here. Read more great writing from the New Yorker.
Did I mouse over something? No.
Oh, close that X. There's an X at the top.
Oh, well, that's terrible design.
That is terrible design.
Oh, hideous design. Okay, so I told Krista, I was like, I'm not going to explain this to you right now while we're running through the stories. I'm just going to explain it to you live, and then you can react to it. Because me explaining
For the thumbnail.
this is like explaining to the rubber ducky, right?
Yeah. Rubber duck programming.
The idea here is the hidden cost of automated thinking. And the key word is intellectual debt. What is intellectual debt, you ask?
Yes, I asked that.
Intellectual debt is when, so let's say, I'll give you an example. You know how sometimes when you're working on a project and you're kind of roughing it out and you're doing the broad strokes, and then you put that little comment in there and you write to do : and this is a future Krista problem.
Yes,
right?
Pretty much, yeah.
So this is kind of like that, but with artificial intelligence. So imagine this scenario, right? We have artificial intelligence that we know comes up with answers, and we don't know why. We have no clue, but
Where
it's
they
right.
come from, yeah.
It works, right? It'd be same. It's like if we had alien technology, right? And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, our cars can fly now. We don't understand it, but we like it. And we're going to keep making flying cars. We're not sure how it works. So the question is, when AI gets good enough to start doing that, when do we pay that intellectual debt? In other words, when do we go back and figure out why all these amazing new things are working? And what if we never do?
And then the machines just get smarter and smarter, and we get dumber and dumber.
And then we have all these amazing technologies. We have no idea how to reproduce them.
I feel like that can only be sustainable for so long, because eventually, if those things break down, you need to know how to fix them. Like,
well, as long as you've got the same system in place that created them,
it could fix them.
presumably it could just make more, right? But what
so
if
wasteful.
you lose that? What if it goes away?
Yeah.
So it's an excellent question of, I think we will definitely get into a lot of intellectual debt.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll ever pay it back. You know what? That's a problem for your kids.
They will solve it.
I think they might just be playing Overwatch.
They're gonna be Overwatch pros. Hanzo mains. Filthy Hanzo mains.
Okay, here's a question.
What if our kids are like we have two kids and it's one's Hanzo main and one's a Genji main? What do we do?
I don't know what any of that means, but
yeah.
Is Genji also bad?
Well, Genji's actually not as bad as Hanzo, because Genji can still do damage even if he's not hitting every shot, but Hanzo can be useless if he's not hitting headshots.
Oh, I thought people hated it because it was just annoying because he killed people a lot.
No, so a lot of times people will pick like Hanzo or Widow, and then like they can't hit the broadside of a barn, so they're effectively useless the entire match.
But at what point?
That's me. I can't play snipers, but
At what point do you? Because you're supposed to encourage your kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if your kid is just a hot trash, but he insists on sniping?
I mean, if they're just playing for fun, that's fine. But like, if he's in Overwatch League, he
But
needs
he's
to
on-
do what the coach tells him.
He's on your account.
Oh, he won't be on my account. By the time I have a child who's old enough to play that game, it's going to be like Overwatch 3.
You don't know that.
They already announced Overwatch 2.
Yeah, but you're getting married in less than a month.
And
So
if I have a kid tomorrow, it's going to take a while for it to be old enough to like actually operate a keyboard and
3.
stuff. 3.
Yeah.
3 years old.
Yeah.
Get good, like on the mic.
That one kid that we had the news story about, his dad claimed he started at 3.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Anyway, robots. That's what we're talking
That's
about
what we're
now.
talking about, yeah.
And we're talking about recycling. Krista, do you recycle?
I would love to, but our city does not have a recycling program for my neighborhood.
I don't care. In fact, I got my super awesome water thermos. Now, this is 100% Nestle bottled water in here.
That's why just get a filter.
But wait. Hear those ice cubes? Nestle bottled water ice cubes.
So wasteful. Just get a filter. Buy a filter. You have a house. You could put on one right on the tab.
Oh,
I use a pitcher.
tastes like human slavery. So I throw away a lot of plastic,
Yeah.
and I'm not ashamed of it. What happens to that plastic? Well, in the old days, we put it on a ship,
And just ship it over to China.
Right to
That's
China.
China's problem now.
Unfortunately, now we have the trade war. So China's like, no, I don't think we're taking your garbage anymore. So what do? You got to turn to the robots.
America is drowning in garbage. Now robots are being put on duty to help solve the recycling crisis. This is actually cool. So this thing actually sorts your recycling for you. Check it out. It looks a little scary.
It looks like something from Sesame Street, don't you think?
Yeah, he kind of looks like sausage appendages.
I can hear
picking
him
up the garbage.
Hear him humming like a tune as he does this.
Yeah. They need to put some googly eyes on him.
Now they have the video doesn't show him specifically. There's a lot of
I don't know why it's a him, but it is.
Yeah, it looks very himish. There's a lot of boring people talking in this video, and there's no scrubber. What?
You have to watch the whole thing.
Okay, I'm not doing that. Anyway, it's just that we have. So the cool thing here is not just this robot, although he is very cool, but it's the AI. And the AI is a image recognition thing. But here's the catch. It can tell a smushed water bottle. You crush it down to almost nothing. The AI can be like, that's a crushed water bottle. That's a crushed
cool.
can. That's just a piece of paper wadded up, whatever. And it can tell the difference. And it will sort them with its suction cup arms.
That's cool. I went down the rabbit hole yesterday. I need to buy a new toothbrush, and I was like, I should get a non-plastic toothbrush. And I did a bunch of research about different kinds you can get. And you can get bamboo wood toothbrushes, but then it's like, well, what are the bristles made out of? And apparently your two options are like some sort of nylon material, which still doesn't biodegrade great, but it's better. And then the original traditional stuff was pig hair.
Hog hair. Yeah.
Hog hair, and apparently that's horribly unethical, so usually they recommend doing the nylon.
Why is it unethical?
Apparently how they get the hog hair is not fantastic.
They can't get it when they're dead?
I don't know how it works. It sounds
Also, that hog hair, that's kind of disgusting.
Apparently it's very unhygienic because it's porous, so like germs can hide in it easily, and you have to like boil it every few days. So
Ooh, I have a beard brush that's made of hog hair.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't have one because I don't have a beard.
Well, you should get one.
I've been trying to grow one.
Why don't you get an electric toothbrush?
I want to do that. Don't have an electric. I've never had an electric one.
They're good.
Are they?
Yeah.
I'm probably just gonna do the bamboo.
Okay. Just waste your life.
Sure.
Anyway, that's all we've got for you on this episode.
Yeah.
Friday, we'll be talking about security and nonsense. And Krista loves security.
I hate security, but I love nonsense.
Expect a lot of... This week's nonsense is almost nothing to do with technology because I couldn't find any technology nonsense. So it's just a potpourri of
horrible... Some of it's going to be horribly depressing because you do that every week with nonsense.
It's not that bad.
Bye. Hello. And today is August 2nd. And today is... I've immediately forgotten. Security and nonsense.
And our first security story has to do with everybody's favorite artificial intelligence. Siri.
Apple contractors regularly hear confidential details on Siri recordings. What's the workers say? What drug deals, medical details, and apparently a lot of people having sex. So
this is the same deal that we've heard with all the other people who record constantly. Google, Alexa. They have these people who listen to see how did Siri respond to this request. And they say it's random and anonymized, but how anonymous can it be if you're ordering prescriptions?
Yeah. So
this was a kind of a whistleblower guy who leaked these details. Now they say one of the big problems is you have to say, "Hey Siri," right?
Mm-hmm.
You talk to Siri. Actually, I don't think you have to say.
You can just say Siri.
Just say Siri. Now, Siri listens for her name, and she recognizes some other things that aren't her name. And one of those things, hilariously, is the sound of a zipper.
Siri, maybe? She's like kind of hearing it. I could see why it would trigger on that.
Which explains why there's a lot of sex that's being recorded.
Siri, I'm sorry, I don't understand that.
So, yeah. We've all suspected it. It's true. Not only is Siri recording most of the time, humans are listening to it. Just deal with it. Get used to it. That's the world we live in. A little bit of happy news this week. It took quite a while, but justice has kind of been served.
Marcus MalwareTech Hutchins gets no prison time and 1 year on a supervised release. The judge said this is BS and gave him a very light sentence.
So the FBI trumped up those charges, and the judge took one look at them and said, no, really,
Bruh.
guys, come on. There will be no jail time here. He gets to go home. He lives in Europe somewhere. And there is a question of whether or not he will be allowed to come back.
Yeah.
But they took into account all the good things that he's done since the supposed malware that he sold. So if I were him, I would never.
Yeah, I would
set
not
foot
come back.
on it. Definitely. Although with supervised release, I wonder, I guess you could just do that by phone maybe. Not sure. Not sure exactly
Supervised.
Yeah, not sure how that works. Here's something, Krista, that you have certainly experienced, and I think we all have, and I don't think it really shaped us all that much.
I mean, I teabag a lot.
You do that. You're
65% of online gamers face threats, stalking, and other severe harassment.
So-
Teabagging will never not be funny to me.
This is the Anti-Defamation League, and for whatever reason, they chose to study some online gaming, and they have found these horrible things that, and I like how they bring up, shocking, that sometimes gender, race, and sexuality are brought into it.
That's always, unfortunately, kind of been the case.
Who could have predicted it? Who could have known? As we all know, everybody who plays Call of Duty is gay. You know, if
Literally
you're, if
everyone.
you're basing it on the
And every one of
insults.
them, their mother will
Oh,
have sex with whoever.
Huge sluts. Yes. Yeah. Even the dead ones.
Oh,
Which
too far.
now, there's no such thing. So the worst offender, Dota 2,
I
But-
can see that.
but close, a close tie for second. It's actually a four-way tie for second. Counter-Strike, PUBG,
Overwatch?
and League of Legends.
I actually don't encounter that much toxicity in Overwatch, but I also, like, if I do, I usually just report it. So,
Really?
yeah.
I mean, who cares? I always felt like that was just part of it. You know, I mean, to be hurt by someone attacking you in an online game, you kind of give them validity. Like, why would their opinion matter?
Some people are just really obnoxious about it, though. Like won't even play the game. They're so busy berating you, and then that's when I report.
guess.
Because then it's like, now you're not playing, and now you're going to cause me a loss because you're too busy insulting my gender.
Remember when we played?
Now it's serious.
We played that Rainbow Six game because it was the free weekend,
We didn't know what we were doing.
and we were really
We
fucking.
were very bad.
And the guy was furious. He kept killing us in the spawn. He was on
Yeah.
our team.
He was spawn killing.
And he would kill us in the spawn. He was like, I swear to God, if there's one, he had a word for the people who didn't have a skin. And it was like, if I see one more of them, I'll kill every one of them. I don't even care.
I didn't even
And
know
it's-
what that word meant. I'm
Yeah,
glad you
and
shed some light on it.
And it was
'cause
like, wow, that's a human being that really has some interesting priorities.
I like that. Instead of, it's like, let's make this a teaching moment for these
Ugh.
idiot noobs. He's like, no, I'm just going to spawn camp them and then make them never come back. Like,
The other great statistic here is 88% of gamers said they experienced some form of positive social interaction or made a friend.
like that one guy. I can't remember his name. I haven't seen him in a few games.
Oh, maybe he's dead.
No.
He'll live forever.
He'll live forever.
So you actually have more, statistically, you have a higher chance of having a good experience than a bad experience, which, not bad.
Generally, people are pretty nice. I mean, like I said, I don't have to report people very often.
Yeah, I think it's probably not. So back in our day, it was mostly kids playing online games.
Yeah.
And kids are, vicious and horrible.
Yeah.
So I think as the gamers age, it's going to get better.
It's generally, like, when it is someone who's, toxic in a game, it usually is someone younger. And you
Yeah,
can tell
yeah.
by their voice. Like,
Right.
I get called a squeaker a lot, and it's like, no, I'm just a girl. Like,
Which is ironic because it's probably another kid.
yeah.
Yeah.
Someone who's much younger than me.
Now we know about the airplane problems. We got is it the 737?
I think so.
that-
Our
that-
chat is obsessed with that. Like, they talk about it in chat all the time.
Yeah,
when
well,
we're
they
doing
ask
Twitch.
me out over a lot of stuff. It's
Yeah.
annoying. But the Max, the 737 Max, I think is what it is, or maybe it's 787. It's got some issues. But it turns out that Boeing is not the only airplane company with some pretty serious and silly issues.
Airbus A350 software bug forces airlines to turn planes off and on every 149 hours, which is a strange number. And the subheadline here is "Patch Your Darn Metal Bird," sighs AU Aviation Agency.
A lot of people in the comments are linking to the IT crowd. Turn it on,
off again, yeah.
It's not funny when you do it. That's a little less than comedy that Wendell doesn't understand. It was funny when they did it. Just keep that in mind.
Wendell likes to explain the joke.
So this is a buffer overflow. It has all these interconnected systems, and they all report into this main, telemetry system. But they do it so often, it fills the buffer up. And when the buffer overflows, they just stop. And that happens every 149 hours. Simple fix, you just shut the plane down, turn it back on. But if you forget to do that and you're in the air, things stop working.
Like your speed and...
Sad.
Yeah.
Sad.
How long does it... What did we say? It was like 15 minutes?
I was making that up.
Oh, you don't
know.
actually
But I imagine that it's maybe less than that. I mean...
But it's time you're sitting in a terminal.
Now, you do probably have to wait for those turbines to spin up.
Yeah.
So that might add time to it. But the actual system itself, I imagine, boots fairly quickly. I don't know. Maybe we have some A350 pilots in the audience.
I bet that we will have lots of enthusiasts in the audience who will tell us about that plane.
You know what? You think that the flight sim software people, they should put that in the game. They should patch
Where
that
you
in.
have to yeah.
We have a lot of stories about people who incorrectly store passwords, but it doesn't get much worse than storing them in plain text.
Robinhood admits to storing some passwords in clear text. And this affects you, I guess, doesn't it?
I do have a Robinhood account, and I did get the email, and it's pretty disappointing because this is a financial company, and you like to think that people who are dealing with large sums of money, like online banking and trading and stuff like that, they'd have their shit together a little bit more than this. But you'd be wrong. Robinhood is a little bit of a joke of a company because they have, I mean, you don't trade stuff, you don't really understand options or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you did, I would love to show you the Robinhood AI versus a real trading platform.
This is just bad.
It is the worst UI
Yeah, I don't do any trading stuff.
in the history of the world. But it's free. There's no commission.
Oh, okay.
So that's why everybody uses it. Yeah. So.
Not so free now.
Well, I mean, you might get hacked,
Uh,
but you don't pay commission while you're getting hacked. So there's that. We have seen this dark relationship building between Amazon and law enforcement. First, we had the Florida recognition program, recognition with a K. It didn't work out, but it wasn't because moral or fairness reasons. It's just because Florida IT people were terrible. The cops, they couldn't figure it out. But now we find out another dark relationship that Amazon is forging with law enforcement.
Amazon requires police to shill surveillance cameras in secret agreement. And we were talking about the story, and it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse.
And worse. So when you take on this agreement with Amazon as there was like a Freedom of Information leak or something, and they found these contracts. So you partner with Ring and Lakeland, Florida, another Florida company that's the leak was from. So you have to assign officers to what they call Ring specific roles: press coordinator and social media manager and community relations coordinator. What do these people do? Why would you need that? Well, these people try to sell the neighborhoods in your community on the idea of buying Ring doorbells. Why would they do that? Well, it turns out each qualifying download will count as $10 toward the free Ring cameras for the cops. But wait.
There's more.
Doesn't end there. That was your cue.
That was my cue. I forget what else happened now.
The cops get access to some of that surveillance footage.
That's right.
If they need to try to catch a criminal, they can look from the perspective of your door that you paid for, that they got a cut of
Wasn't there one more thing? Was that it?
I mean, is that not bad enough for you?
I thought there was one more thing that like I feel like there were 3 steps of evil in this article, and I don't remember them.
Well, that's pretty much it. They do talk about how this also creates a situation of like, so rich people have Ring doorbells, right?
Yes.
And
bougie.
so the cops are going to, they have this incestuous relationship. They're going to focus much more of their attention on the richer communities with the Ring doorbells.
But who will actually invest
So they're
in that?
selling them doorbells. They're monitoring their doorbells. They're catching criminals because they have now this dragnet.
And they're getting money
Meanwhile,
to do
the shitty neighborhoods, who cares? Because we're not getting any kickback from those neighborhoods. It's tough to investigate crimes there because it's not all on video.
that.
So it's kind of like that. That's theoretical, but it makes sense, I guess. South Africa, Krista.
South Africa.
Who's your favorite South African? Who's your favorite African American?
Charlize Theron.
That's my answer.
That was I was gonna say that, or
Elon Musk.
no, I was gonna say, what's the Zef Def group? Yolandi.
I don't know. Yolandi.
No, she works with, I can't remember his name. They're like a rap group. She's a Reach Beach.
Oh.
That's one of her songs.
Well, she probably wasn't affected by this because she can probably afford to buy
Antwoord.
electricity. Oh yeah, I have heard of that.
Yeah.
She can probably afford to buy her electricity in blocks of more than a couple days.
Probably, yes.
But some people in
'Cause
South
she's a Reach
Africa
Beach.
don't do that. Why? Because they have this mobile app where they buy their power, sometimes by the day, which is interesting. And they talk about how a certain day of the week is payday in Africa, right?
Mm-hmm.
Almost everybody buys their power on payday.
On payday. That makes
You know,
sense.
hand to mouth. And which made this really bad because this happened right before payday.
Ransomware incident leaves some Johannesburg residents without electricity. And weren't there some tweets in this article about people getting very upset, justifiably upset about this? Like someone had tropical fish.
Tropical fish, and
That would suck.
The filter wasn't running.
Well, I imagine too, for tropical fish, you'd have to have heated water. Like it would have to stay a certain temperature.
In Africa,
Well, you know,
it's pretty warm.
But like their house might be. I guess their house wouldn't be air conditioned.
No, you wouldn't be air conditioned.
Never mind.
So this did not affect the power generation. They were still making power.
They just couldn't distribute it.
You could not
And pay for
You
it,
couldn't
yeah.
re-up. You couldn't buy your power. So it was there. They could give it to you. Now you would think maybe, as like a goodwill gesture, maybe just throw people some power. No.
Not here.
We'll be doing that. So yeah, that's we heard about the heaters being turned off with, it wasn't ransomware, but it was hacking, and now the electricity has been turned off with ransomware.
What would you do if that happened?
Without electricity, suffer? What am I going to do about it?
What if it would be worse if it was in the winter? I guess it would be winter there, wouldn't it?
I've
There's
got
something
I've got the fireplace, but it's propane, and I haven't I'll just run it. I guess I take the risk, right?
Yeah. I mean, if the other option is freezing, yeah.
Yeah. So, I guess you could get a generator, but if it's a weather-related event, you might be able to get to the generator. But if it's just ransomware, you could go get a generator.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Data, Krista.
Mm-hmm.
Your data is valuable.
Yes.
They're saying now that the most important or the most valuable resource on the planet is no longer oil. It is now data.
Yikes.
I don't agree with that.
I don't know if I agree with that either, but I could see why a marketing company might think that.
But a lot of people are buying it, and the reasons might surprise you.
From Fitbits to Rokus, hedge funds mine data for consumer habits. I don't think that's that surprising.
It's not, but whoever came up with the idea first is smart because they figured out, hey, we buy and sell securities for a living, and we need to try to guess what's hot and what isn't, what's going to sell and what's not. And what better way to do that than to buy up a bunch of consumer data and mine it and try to figure out what people are doing with their time. Are they going out to restaurants? Well,
Are they drinking French wine?
it's a good question.
Yeah.
Based on their location data, we might be able to figure that out. based on their grocery habits, for example, by that data. Fitbit, that'll tell you a lot about what's going on.
Exploding, who can say?
Healthcare stocks, why not? So, if you are a young person who's looking to get in the field of, data processing or whatever, you might have a big hedge fund looking to scalp you if you learn how to do that well. You could be part of that elite Wall Street crowd without actually being
part of that elite Wall Street crowd.
In the trading pit. You'll still need to be addicted to cocaine.
Well, that's an easy habit to pick up.
But by yourself in the data center, not, out there with
crying,
with all the
Out.
wolves. Krista, you love this.
This made me laugh as soon as you pulled it up.
This is a great emoji, I guess you would call this.
I've never seen this one. It made me laugh, though.
So the KGB, that is like the gold standard for spying, right?
Right.
A ruthless.
Everyone's a little scared of the KGB.
No morals. No, that TV show, Chernobyl. Mm-hmm. That's like the KGB was this specter.
The constant, threat.
Yeah. Well, this is not the KGB, but this is, what has come of the KGB. This is their new agency. And maybe they've softened.
They've lost their touch. Hackers stole 7.5 terabytes of secret data from Russia's intelligence agency. And then they replaced the homepage with this image. Look at it. What a stupid face.
This has got like the bags under the eyes and more wrinkles than this one up here.
Yeah.
This one's worse. So this is a screenshot of their webpage right after the hack.
I can almost hear it just...
And
like that's the sound it's making.
As of the writing of this article from Frostbites, they had not recovered their website. They had taken down the face, but they had not recovered the website. And here's some of the programs they had. This was a project to launch or to scrape data from social media, a de-anonymized Tor. They were working on that. They had they want to separate their internet from the rest of the world. These guys were working on that. They have BitTorrent and stuff like that, peer-to-peer networks, the way to spy on that. These guys, they were doing that. So they had all these big projects, and now all that data's been stolen.
Yikes.
Sad. Somebody probably got fired. And by fired, I mean poloniumed.
Not a good time to be working there. Probably never a good time, really, to be working there.
Now, we have made some money in our business by swooping in and rescuing projects that some disgruntled developer has walked away from. I hate those projects.
They are almost always terrible.
Oh my God, are they miserable projects. But you can make a lot of money. Well, this fellow figured out a way to make money by being the one that walked away and the one to rescue.
Siemens contractor pleads guilty to planting logic bomb in company spreadsheets. And he got away with it. And he would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you and your meddling dog.
So this guy had a brilliant idea. He was retiring, and he was the one who did all the spreadsheet work. And they depended on these spreadsheets for a lot of things. So he just set it up so that once a year, the spreadsheets would crap out. And it would be easy to fix because he caused the problem. So once a year, they'd call him up. Hey, the spreadsheets have gone crazy. Can you help us? Yep, here's my fee. He'd come in, set it for the next year. And unfortunately, now you got to think that this is some real poor planning on his part. He went on vacation.
Yes.
During the time when the spreadsheets were going to crash. Why don't you think that you'd set a Google
calendar?
Reminder?
Hey.
And so they were
you put in there dentist appointment.
It's a good point. You have to. So they were like, okay, well, if you can't help us because you're out of the country, just give us the master password. Which why didn't they ever
ask for that previously? And
he did, and the IT team pretty quickly figured out what was going on there, and he's going to go to jail.
Yikes. I think I've said yikes for 20 stories today. Our security is kind of a yikes section.
There's a lot of yikes. But good news, Krista. That's all the security stories that
Woohoo!
we have. Now we move on to nonsense, which is just...
We didn't have to say anything about patching your shit.
You know what? I kind of have been veering away from those.
Yeah.
Because it really is
just patch it.
And maybe that's public service, but I don't know. Maybe we should think of a
we should
roundup.
do a quick run. Yeah.
Maybe we'll look into doing that in the future. Anyway, on to nonsense.
It's so hot in Nebraska you can bake biscuits in your car. That's an image, and apparently they did get nice and golden brown, though they were a little doughy in the center.
Little doughy. The car maxed out at 180 some degrees. Wow. Yeah.
That's why you don't leave your pets in the car.
Right.
When it's hot outside.
I would be worried baking biscuits in my car because that could attract ants and other pests.
Yeah.
Into your car.
I have a dead wasp. That's like my pet in my windshield right now.
Yeah, you get a lot of those.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. So.
I wonder if they ate them. I would have eaten one. I would have eaten a car.
No,
biscuit.
yeah, they reported that the middles were doughy.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't actually bake.
Well, they could have just opened it, but like.
Because you bake biscuits at what, 350, something like that.
Yeah.
So, not quite.
I mean, you could probably like.
Put a little apple butter on there.
Yeah, you wouldn't notice that.
I'd get through that. It wouldn't bother me. Sometimes, we talk about, have you ever heard of the forest fire idea, like the burning forest, and how that's something that we need?
What, like in general, or like
when a forest burns, so once
resets
you have a grown forest, the canopy blocks out the sun for everything, so you don't have any competition. And when a forest burns, not only do the nutrients go back in the soil, but it resets that competition.
Yeah.
And then it's good for the world sometimes when a forest burns. Now that's an analogy for business, right? So let's say that you had a country that was dumb enough to bail out banks that did really stupid things.
Right.
And then
other country.
A couple of years go by and they do the same stupidity for, let's say, car companies.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have car companies that are just trash and they should die, but they're like, no, we won't let them die. We'll just pump them full of cortisone and keep them running. That would be the opposite of letting the forest burn.
Yes.
That's letting the forest rot from the inside.
Right.
And those trees might become immortal. But is that what we want?
Strange Forest superorganism is keeping this vampire tree alive.
There he is.
I've heard stories of this before.
The living dead.
Yeah. And he should be dead, but he's not because he's feeding off the roots of all the other trees in the area. And they're all connected to each other like a giant superhighway.
All the trees. So he's contributing nothing.
Why has he got to be a he? He kind of is a he, though. It's a he stump.
I guess. Anyway, Zur is contributing nothing.
Yeah.
But he's soaking up. I got to go back to the regular pronoun. I'm not. I can't.
Yeah.
He's soaking up all those important nutrients and water. He's like drinking through their straw.
Yeah.
He drinks the communal milkshake.
The other trees are like, bro.
But he's not even using his own straw.
Yeah.
He's using other people's straws. So they're like, well, maybe this is a good thing because all the trees are supporting each other. It's like a communist tree village. But what if a pathogen or a tree virus?
I was going to say, if I was like a mushroom, I would be hitting that tree. Because like that's just unlimited nutrients, right? Like usually, mushrooms grow on dead logs and stuff, and then eventually those nutrients are used up.
But wait, isn't it the decay of the log that the mushroom is eating?
Yeah, but I imagine there's parts of this that are decayed, right?
No,
like
he's not
growing
because
anymore.
He doesn't need to grow. You grow so that
He's
you can...
the neat of the forest. He doesn't need to grow or change.
He's just taking up a bedroom.
Yeah.
So that's funny. We can have... there's a lot of social commentary that comes out of this story.
Yeah. Deep. That's why people watch this program, because we're deep. That's why.
You know what else is deep? Experimenting on humans and animal hybrids.
It's not a good segue.
Well, it's wrong and we shouldn't be doing it.
We shouldn't be doing it. Japan approves first human-animal embryo experiments. There's a Full Metal Alchemist joke in here somewhere. I don't know where it is, but those of you who've watched that series probably are thinking of the scene I'm thinking of.
I don't know that reference because I'm not a dirty weeb.
That's like the only thing I was weebish about in high school. I liked Full Metal Alchemist.
So yeah, this guy, there used to be an international ban on this, or maybe it was just a Japanese ban. They're like, hey, probably let's not take animals and put human cells into them. Let's not do that.
I could end up with some sort of horrible...
And they got together and they were like, nah, you know what, let's do it. And this guy couldn't wait to get started. So first off, he's going to put human cells into mice. Exciting, right?
Uh-huh. That's what I've always wanted.
And good news. For now, he's not going to let those come to term. He's going to
How generous of him.
He's going to terminate the pregnancies at 14 days. I don't know what the gestation period of a mouse is, but
yeah.
that's probably like halfway or something. But eventually, he does plan to try to grow human organs in animals.
Yikes. Ugh. That's didn't he see the Cats trailer? What if like here's a prediction, a level 1 prediction. He's gonna see the Cats trailer and he's gonna like, never mind. Like a week from now he's gonna cancel it because he's like, what if I produce something like that?
What if they can make the actual Sonic the Hedgehog?
That's Japan was a mistake. No.
I have cats in
You
my
do?
home, and they are a bit of a trial to raise, and
They're
keep
such good
happy.
boys though.
they're not. They've begun clawing things a lot.
Really?
They really want to claw everything. Yes, but I do not let the cats into the basement. It's a hard and fast rule. No cats in the basement.
I feel like that was a good choice.
And
in
it's
lieu of the
not.
story.
It's not like a basement. It's a finished basement, and that's where it's my technology layer. You know, I don't have. That's where all my cool stuff is. No cats there for this very reason.
Cat wrecks video game stream by barfing so hard it breaks the computer. And there's a picture which is kind of gross, so just as a warning.
So you can watch this video. It's very short. We won't play it here, but this guy, of course, it's titled "What's the Matter, Buddy?" which is the only dialogue in the video.
Yeah.
What's the matter, buddy? Well, this was the matter. God, that is not digested at all.
No.
Cats don't chew their food very much at all.
Rue doesn't either, because like
Yeah.
every now I have to watch Rue during the summer. She'll drink and drink and drink until she makes herself sick, and then she throws up, and her food's barely digested a lot of
Yeah.
time.
So, as you can see, the cat vomited directly into the top intake of the PC, which ended the stream prematurely.
Ugh.
But that is water-based. Water-based vomit.
Ugh. That looks gross.
So,
I like the guy was like, let me take a picture of this before I clean it up.
well, he had to explain to his viewers what happened.
The photo was important.
Yeah. Florida.
Right.
A lot of things go on in Florida.
They take some more heat off of Kentucky.
Yeah, Florida, Alabama, West Virginia. It's not a big list that we sit on top of, but at least we're not
But
at
it's
the
ours.
very bottom, right? So they've got invasive species in Florida. They got those fish. They got
Pythons.
the snakes and the green iguana.
This is not the Wild West. Florida officials clarify stance on
Green
hunting
iguana.
iguanas. Looks like
So-
your ad blocker's on, by the way.
Previous to this, the police had tweeted that you should kill green iguanas whenever possible.
On site.
Now, Florida's a red state.
Mm-hmm.
These are gun owners. The police have just given them the green light on the green iguanas. You can kind of
Yeehaw!
anticipate what happened after that. Now, fortunately, most of the accidents were just pellet guns,
Yeah.
but people were taking pellets based on the green iguana bounty hunters. So they've gone back to Twitter, clarified, on your own property, you can kill the green iguanas.
Do not chase down iguanas onto other people's property.
But just like going out into the city and hunting iguanas, not always the best idea.
Are iguanas good for anything? Like, can you? I know people human as pets, but like, can you eat iguana?
You probably could if you had to.
Probably wouldn't be very good. I wouldn't think.
These iguanas are burrowers,
Yeah.
so apparently they destroy sidewalks. They're big too. Like
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
big monsters, and they have some sort of snail that's good for the environment. The iguanas eat all of the snails.
Oh.
Yeah, so iguanas are. I mean, they're reptiles.
They're a little
But-
more friendly looking, seeming. To me.
I don't know if I would want to kill them.
Yeah, I'd feel a little bit bad. Oh, someone else got a text.
So yeah, but if you hate iguanas, good time to be a
Floridian.
Yeah, just take those bitches out. But please be humane in your killing it.
Yeah.
Don't make them suffer. I mean, they are reptile brain, but they can still feel pain.
Yeah.
You should think about their feelings. Here's one of those stories you talked about that's just
Yeah, so I was like, Ryan, you've had some dark stories in the nonsense
Mhm.
section the last like 2 or 3 weeks. I was like, we need to do some like lighter stuff. And he's like, I don't have anything dark. this
Oh,
week.
I forgot about this one.
And then he forgot about this one. This one's pretty dang dark.
This was what's the height of darkness, but I think people need to hear about it.
FBI found buckets of heads, arms, and legs, bodies sewn together at Arizona body donation facility.
Now, you might be wondering, what is a body donation facility? Well, when you die, one of your options, if you don't want your body to have to be disposed of by your family, so you can be buried, you can be cremated, or you can donate your body to science, right? So, back in the day, like Victor Frankenstein, for example, he was a grave robber.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't have had to be a grave robber if he'd have a program like this. So, cadavers for medical schools. It's
research if you have some sort of rare disease so they can cure it in other people.
It's a good idea to practice on dead people when you do surgeries, we've discovered. So we need bodies for all these various reasons. And it's not fun to think about, but hey, some people are like, hey, I'm dead. Do whatever. Do what you want. Well, they go to a facility like this, but you don't expect these kinds of things. Let's look at some of the details, Krista.
This was pretty brutal.
How about a cooler filled with male genitalia?
No, thank you.
Well, can I interest you in a bucket of head, arms, and legs?
What's the special today?
Well, that's it's only during happy hour. Infected heads? I don't even know what that means.
What's infected with what?
How do you get infected when you're dead?
Well, I mean, that's probably easy enough. Would it be like bacterial infections or?
I don't know, but perhaps the coup de grace was this one. I'll let you read this one.
A small woman's head sewn onto the body of a large male torso.
And hung on the wall.
And hung on the wall.
Don't forget.
I forgot that part.
And all this, of course, done with chainsaws and band saws.
What the hell? That's the only question. Is like, why?
No one knows why. So if you're wondering, isn't that illegal? Yes. And the owner of this facility has been charged. His name, of course, Stephen Gore.
Which I kind of wonder if that's his legally given name or if
that's Al Gore. That's a name.
Or if he changed his name.
I don't think that would really be tipping it off, wouldn't it? So he's the guy who discovered this, or one of the advocates, is saying he's calling for stricter regulations. Maybe I'm an anti-regulation kind of guy when it comes to the corpse companies.
Yeah,
let's put some rules in place.
Well, and like that's just, there's so many things wrong with that. Like just as like
well, let's say that
human decency, but also like. You're talking about like the infections and stuff like that. You don't want that shit getting out.
Yeah. Well, they talked about like the floors were just rivers of blood. But why would you ever need to cut the bodies? I mean, I guess maybe you could sell the parts individually.
Well, yeah, right? If someone's like, we just need a torso to operate like an abdomen or
I bet what happened is.
Well, I think you'd want the whole thing. I don't know.
It's kind of like you do butcher them for that purpose, and sometimes you have leftovers. And it's that gallows humor type stuff, and it's just you get so desensitized and it's so dark that you start sewing them up.
I feel like there should be some sort of protocol for dealing with
maybe
parts.
Cycle them on and off,
Wouldn't
like
you just cremate it? Like
do 6 months at the body facility and then you got to go do something else to reattune
cleanse
with
the palate.
Humanity.
Yeah.
Our next story is kind of similar, but
I'd like to know what he's accomplishing here.
Well, vegans are notorious for wanting attention, right? They want you to know that they're vegan. I think this guy did the amazing thing of going even further in his search for attention.
I don't like either side here.
To overcome even the vegans.
Pro-meat protesters, fined for eating raw squirrels at a vegan stall.
You probably have questions about that.
I have a lot of questions.
Well, let me give you the answers. Yes. Ate the fur. This was an entire uncooked squirrel.
Uncooked, too.
The whole squirrel.
Parasites.
Ate two squirrels. Why?
I can't even finish one.
That's the one. Oh, you've never. I've actually eaten squirrel.
I haven't eaten squirrel.
I've had squirrel gravy.
I've had a frog and turtle, I think.
But they are just. I mean, there ain't much meat on a squirrel.
No.
Yeah, you could easily eat a whole squirrel. Those. The quesadilla that you eat and the egg rolls that you get, the one squirrel would not.
Would fill those?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I could do that.
So, this guy was arrested. Now
Cooked, mind you.
The law that he was arrested for is kind of a BS British law where it's like causing distress.
I mean, to be fair, like, listen, I understand not liking vegans, but like, they're not bothering you. Why would you?
No, I agree with you.
Why the hell would you go out there and antagonize someone like that?
This is absolutely human trash, but I don't think he broke a law. So let me just give you this scenario. What if it wasn't a squirrel? What if it was a chicken?
It would still be weird to eat raw chicken in front of someone.
Well, what if you just like it that way? What if it was a fish? Is it weird to eat raw fish?
I just like
now you're being racist against the beautiful nation of Japan.
We're the beautiful nation with the mouse human hybrids.
And the Hitler story that we're going to do
later. Yeah. Yikes. Oh, I have to stop saying it. I can't stop now.
So yeah, I think they went too far, but this guy's definitely an asshole.
Yes.
So there's no winners here.
If this was a thread on Reddit for "Am I the asshole?" it would be ESH.
Everybody. The government for having this kind of BS law is the asshole. This guy for doing this is absolutely 2 times the asshole. And then vegans in general are assholes. So.
I don't know. I understand vegetarianism more than I understand veganism.
We have a lot of USA Today stories today. And
we do, and they always say looks like your ad blocker's on.
And this is where people are going to be like, didn't get you blocker. Okay, whatever. We'll just let them say it. Doesn't matter. But let's talk about Donald Trump, who something embarrassing happened to him and he didn't even know.
This was funny. Trump appears in front of altered presidential seal saying 45 is a
puppet.
It was blocked. I couldn't see it.
So here, and I would love to show you the seal, but yeah. The differences in the seal. Let's enumerate them.
Yes.
2 heads on the eagle.
Yes, which is a Russian symbol.
Instead of the wheat in the claw, golf clubs.
See, I was thinking you're going to go hammer and sickle there.
That might be a little too on the nose.
Too on the nose.
And e pluribus unum, what's it mean?
Under one. Or
from many.
From many, one.
Instead, it was Latin that says 45 is a puppet. 45th president of the United States is who, Krista? Donald Trump. So, I imagine this guy's been fired. I did see somebody interviewed him.
Yeah, he was all over Twitter.
He was not at all apologetic.
No, he kind of seemed a little smug and laughing about it a lot.
It was a pretty good troll.
It was a pretty good troll, though I don't think the government will take kindly to that.
No, I imagine
he may be in deeper trouble than he thinks.
Very angry about that. That's exactly the kind of thing Trump would not
tolerate.
Happy about. Yeah. Krista, you don't shop at Forever 21.
No, I used to. I don't anymore.
What age did you stop when you were 22?
No, I stopped probably a couple years ago. Their stuff's not very good quality. As the problem.
Now,
doesn't last.
We actually talked about you in this scenario. You are, if anything, probably underweight.
I am right on the healthy weight line, according to my physician.
Okay. So, but you said that you still might be a little bit offended by this.
Yeah. So Forever 21 is under fire for allegedly sending diet bars with online orders. There's literally Atkins bars in online orders for different clothing that you get from the store.
But everybody got it.
Yes. And let's just be clear though, this is just tone deaf. Sending out diet bars to women after they purchase clothes, there's no way to spin that, even if it was a woman for a store for petite women. That just looks bad. It looks really bad.
Now the people that took to Twitter, there's a little bit of a red flag right there in the username, admitted that they bought plus sized items. And so they assumed that
it was because they were plus size.
Forever 21 was giving them a little bit of a hint. But in fact, I don't have any more pictures. Forever 21 just sent these out to everybody. They had a deal with Adkins. It was like, hey, let's give your product some, let the people try it out, give it some visibility.
So tone deaf.
I wouldn't be pissed if I got a free candy bar with my clothing.
I mean, not practically, but it's dude. Again, it's just one of those things
what if
their PR department should have caught that before they started getting shipped out.
Let me flip this on its head and show you how discriminatory you are. What if tickets to an anime convention came with a stick of deodorant.
That would also be a little tone deaf, I think. Or like, oh, say, or you buy a KVM and like it comes with a stick of deodorant. Like, I mean, like it's tone deaf.
A book on basic human communication.
Yeah, like it's tone deaf. Like you just don't do that.
A fleshlight.
Oh.
Some of the people are like, do we get that?
No, the KVM. You just get the KVM when you order from our store.
Krista, you and I have talked a lot about CBD because
it's all over the town.
It's just exploded onto the scene.
Yeah.
Everybody's into it. My mom asked me about
Wait,
CBD.
really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What'd you tell her?
I was like, I don't know anything about it.
Did you tell her it was the devil's oil?
I was like, you realize it comes from weed, right? She was like, yeah, but it doesn't get you high. So she's probably going to start trying to use it. I don't know.
It's not the worst.
She's
thing
a sucker for the, like...
homeopathic.
Not homeopathic, but just like... sort of anything that's in those magazines, you know, like to get at the checkout line.
Oh, she's like, oh, I'll try that.
She did the tea that where you make it's got the big mushroom on top of it, and she did the green drinks. She does all that,
like
garbage.
the juicing and stuff.
Yeah. She doesn't do it for very long, but she does it anyway. CBD's everywhere, and sometimes that's bad for people with certain names.
Christian book distributors blah, blah, drops CBD initials after getting inundated with cannabis requests. Bad time to be CBD Christian book distributors.
Inundated, you say?
Yes.
I think you put the emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Did I? Oops. How do you say it?
Inundated.
Inundated.
So yeah,
Struggling
these guys started this company like a decade ago, and they sell Christian books, obviously.
Yeah.
And
it looks like an old Scholastic catalog.
Yeah,
that's some nostalgia.
They're probably not at the forefront, although this says it's the August 2019 catalog, so this is right now, and they can't answer the phone now without people being like, "Hey, I ordered some oil. Where is it?"
It's like we're not.
Which, I mean, so many people are selling CBD. Did you just go in the phone book and start calling? It's like, where's my oil? You know, like, how do you not know which one?
Half our audience is like, what's a phone book?
That's true. Maybe they just went to Google.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's hilarious. So they got a quote here. I ordered gummies. CBD gummies.
You don't have the right company.
So that's funny.
This story's funnier, I think.
This is one of the best. Within the last three stories,
yeah.
we weight the last three stories as the best nonsense, if you haven't noticed that already. So Saudi Arabia, they have a little bit of money from oil.
Right, just a little.
And
a small family fortune.
It doesn't. Now, you do, as a Saudi Arabian citizen, I don't think you pay taxes, right? Because there's just so much oil money.
Yeah.
And you get really cheap gasoline and stuff like that. But they do tend to keep most of the money for the royal family.
Well, they've got to trash hotels in foreign countries. So.
They have to have those solid gold fixtures and all that. So because of that, the Saudi royal family is maybe a little out of touch.
Just a little. Report: Saudi prince's plan for flying taxi robot city with giant artificial moon may be unrealistic. And let's scroll down.
There he is.
I'm assuming that's him, yeah.
That's his plan.
He looks really pleased with himself in that photo.
I like how they label him as notorious human rights abuser. I think he was involved in killing that journalist.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yikes.
So just some of the items that he recommended: hologram faculty for the schools. Your children will be taught by holograms, of course.
Of course.
Cloud seeding, because it doesn't necessarily rain all that much in Saudi Arabia, so we'll do that artificially. Jurassic Park style island of robot reptiles. That would be terrifying for you.
Yeah, this man already, he was already kind of like up there with the human rights abuses, but that just puts it over the
Maybe
barrel.
I can bring you back with robot maids. Who wouldn't want that, right? How about a robot cage fight? I mean, that's exciting.
But he's basically just describing BattleBots.
Well, he's morphing all of his favorite TV shows into a city. So, now, here's where it gets a little dark, though, Krista. That's the forcible relocation of 20,000 people part.
Yeah, because he saw a spot on a map. He's like, there's no city here. And the city planners he was talking to were like, well, there are people there. There are houses there.
Yeah, he's just like,
oh, let's screw those people.
Just sweep them out of the way.
Yeah.
I'm a Saudi prince. I get what I want. Now, those are not the craziest of his ideas.
No, that's the tip of the iceberg.
The big one maybe is the artificial moon.
Which, when asked about, he said, it's an artificial moon.
He didn't really have a lot of plans. Now, the engineers said, you know what? What if, because, I mean, you can tell that these are idea guys who, like, you can't say no to this man.
Yeah.
So you're accustomed to, like, okay, how can we try to make this? They actually came up with the idea of drones with lights on them. So a big swarm of drones would fly up into the sky at night and become an artificial moon. The one they don't have an answer for is he doesn't want streets.
No.
He wants only flying cars. I'm not sure where they park. But the biggest one.
Neither's he.
Here's the engagement challenge. How would you do this one, chat? Glow in the dark beach.
There is a bioluminescent material that is on some beach somewhere in the world that maybe he wants to import, which would be wildly expensive.
Have you ever seen, they make rocks that you can put in your aquarium.
Yeah.
They're kind of expensive. You ever seen somebody, they'll put down gravel and then they'll put down a layer of those and then seal the whole thing for a driveway. Looks really cool.
I'll have to look that up.
But an entire beach, that's a different story.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because those are going to wash out to sea. It's probably not going to be good for the sea life. But he says he wants it, and he wants it by, was it like 2035 or something like that?
Yeah, I think it was 2030 is what he said.
And he says, hey, we're going to do this.
It's almost like a lifetime of outrageous wealth has not prepared him for real life city planning.
Also,
and no skills to speak of.
You also have to take into account the decline of fossil fuels over that 10-year period.
How hilarious will that be?
As we move toward, although they've been investing in Tesla. That's one of the Tesla.
Oh, that's right. I remember we did a story about that.
I don't think Tesla's going to replace all that money.
No.
Quite.
Can you imagine like the first time one of the Saudi royals gets their like credit card declined? Or like, like, what do you mean I can't stay here?
I think there would probably be a war before that happened.
That's crazy.
Iggy Azalea, Krista. How hyped are you for her new album?
I only know one song by Iggy Azalea.
What song do you know?
I don't know the name of it. It's just on the radio.
What about
sometimes.
some lyrics? You got some lyrics for us?
I just remember the beat. Oh, it's Fancy. The name of the song is Fancy.
Yeah. Fancy is her biggest hit. Now, I can give you a couple more of her tracks. How about F It Up?
I know I haven't heard that one.
Except the full word. How about a word for cat that starts with a P, that word, and then pop? That's one of her songs.
Wow, what a classy lady.
That's a demonetizer, so I'm not going to say it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Well, she has a...
Pussy Ridge.
Oh, yeah, Pussy Ridge. That's going to... The
yeah.
algorithm's going to hear the same thing.
That's a street name, Google.
Nice piece of 200-acre piece of property there right now.
I know, but it's too expensive.
But 200 acres.
It's 200 acres.
200 acres of Pussy Ridge. Who can say no to that?
This person, because I can't afford it.
You pointed out when I showed it to you that it looked really nice because it's incredibly well groomed.
Yeah, well, okay. It has a creek. There's a barn.
It's a moist.
Oh.
Just keep walking into them, Krista.
Anyway,
Iggy Azalea, she has a competitor you might not expect.
Iggy Azalea battles for chart supremacy against Peppa Pig. I always pronounce it Peppa, like she's a gangster. Peppa Pig.
How do you pronounce it?
I don't know.
What other than Peppa could it be? Peepa?
I don't know. Peppa Pig.
Papa?
Like she sounds like she could like take a gun and just shoot you in the head, and like Peppa Pig wouldn't care.
There's that YouTube channel that puts they reanimate it and then put DMX in there. Yeah, it's pretty funny. I mean, it's racist, but it's funny. So yeah, it turns out that Peppa Pig is perhaps the only thing standing between Iggy Azalea and chart dominance.
And apparently Iggy Azalea is not taking that well.
Now, Iggy Azalea has more Twitter followers. But when you talk about
people who watched Peppa Pig are not old enough to have a Twitter.
Right. Peppa Pig has 157,000 followers, whereas Iggy Azalea has 13.2. Oh, that's Instagram followers.
Oh.
But here's the thing. Iggy Azalea's net worth, 4.8 million. That's not bad. Especially
Certainly better than either of ours.
Yes. And she's young. She has time to accumulate wealth. However, Peppa Pig, 1.4 billion global sales.
And she doesn't even have any life expenses. It costs nothing to keep her alive.
She is in fact a figment of someone's imagination. So that's one to watch. We'll see who takes the prize
Peppa
there.
Pig has a throne.
And finally, the best story of the week. And I'll fight you if you say otherwise.
This is a nightmare scenario. Gender-bent Nazi visual novel. Mein Waifu is the Führer, now on Kickstarter.
I kind of feel like we've been demonetized already, so
you just want to play it?
I'm going to play this video. So this is a Kickstarter. I think they've already hit their first goal, but they've got some stretch goals if you want to go sign up. This reimagines...
The music's very peppy. I can hear it from the headphones.
It reimagines World War II as if... Now imagine this. Hitler is an anime girl.
He loses something without the mustache.
And Himmler. In fact, all of the major players from the Third Reich will be reimagined as anime girls. And there's some nudity, I imagine. Oh, Jesus Christ, that was scary. That was scary. Oh, no, this is scary. That was Goebbels. Yeah. What an idea, Krista.
We're living in the worst timeline.
Is it the worst, though? So, you might be thinking...
I'm just watching it. Did you play that? I don't think you played that on stream. I don't think you had. Did you just switch it? You might not have played the video.
Oh, I think I did.
Oh.
But...
hopefully you did.
Well, they can watch themselves if I forget.
Yeah.
But anyway, you might be thinking, well, what is this game? Well, of course, obviously, it's a dating simulator. So you will be dating one of the major leaders of the Third Reich, or trying to.
Well, you might be playing all of them at once, right? If you're smooth.
Well, I think it's like Doki Doki. You have to make a choice.
Yeah, eventually, but at first
also,
you play all of them.
I imagine Hitler's not going to be too happy if you choose one of the other ones. That's going to be tough to...
How is it going to handle the canon discrepancy of Eva Braun? Is she going to be an anime girl?
Well, I think they go alternate timeline from the very beginning.
You think?
Because they mentioned...
You think? Because they're all anime girls. I wasn't sure.
They mentioned that instead of invading Poland, something goes wrong because Hitler is not very good in this timeline at being a leader.
There's some sexist commentary that there, you know?
Yeah, I guess
I
that's
hope
true.
someone writes a completely serious article about why that's sexist.
Now I wonder, will the ally leader, will
Churchill
Rommel and will they be
hot anime girls?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Maybe they'll be super ripped, shonen.
They'll be you'll be competing with them.
Yeah, the Chads.
Well, that's all we got.
That's yeah. So I don't even know what to say to that.
It's going to be tough to come up with titles this week because for this episode I'm going to want to use something related to Nazis, but that'll probably get demonetized
instantly. Yeah.
Oh well. See you next week. When is it the
LTX?
The Linus thing, so he'll be back next week.
Yeah. Back from Canada. Hopefully his hands aren't sticky with syrup.
From maple syrup.
Yeah,
you're going to have to.
Oh. Okay. Anyway, bye.